Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Addicted Podcast number 45. Let me just bring these wonderful people across, if it works. Boom. There we go, don't. What? Okay, so hopefully it's all looking okay. I had to do a little bit last minute tweaking, but we're all here. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Addicted Podcast, episode number 45. We are joined with Mr. Little Bit of Madness to my that side. No, that was right the first time. And the Mr. Sol.create in the corner. And with a very special, unbelievably nerdy, in fact, the king of nerds, it is Mr. Uber Nerd himself. Welcome, Virgin Addicted Podcast member. Yeah, we got to get ready for the animated people that go back and forth and. We thought we'd wait till you get partner first. Yeah, so congratulations on that as well. Yeah. Hang on, everybody's not working, so none of it's working for some reason. Discord, why is this not? Hang on a second. Well, they can hear me, which is obviously the main thing. Why is this source not working? I tell you why, because Windows Updates decides to cut everything. Just sort of, yeah, use sign language, but guys, you'll be fine. VB cable, virtual cable 2, it should be coming out there.
The Hudsucker proxy.
Oh, he does a very good impression. Oh, Nerd does a very good impression of a certain Wookiee from this two-worded film.
It should be working now. So
something about stars. Oh, giving it away.
We
Too
were
close.
Yeah, we got the
we thought we'd just do
Manifestation.
the whole podcast in sign language instead.
We could have tried, couldn't we? We could have said it. Ships, doing all the ships in charades, trying to guess them all. Can you imagine?
Well, that's about as much as ATV.
The
You could
pioneer.
have just done a couple of sign languages and it would have been fine.
Yeah, bloody dingleberries.
So we'll start again.
The Hornet.
Welcome everybody. So yeah, let's just find out how you've been. So how you been doing this week, Madness? Let everybody know.
Yeah, really good. Streaming a bit. Playing some Destiny off stream with friends, with Nexian and a few other guys. Trying to get my light level up for that so I can do raids. Actually, the only thing that's been kind of concerning me, which I need to go, I'm going to have to get a full-on Rambo montage going, is because my skills for some reason in dogfighting have kind of been slacking. I don't know whether it's because Star Citizen has decided it's a great idea for subscribers to be able to have Starfarers. So everyone under the sun is like spawning Starfarers in the servers, just killing the servers because
the servers have been so stable.
Horrible DC. Oh, I know they're not great anyway, but stick those in. And yeah, it's just I've been struggling with Buccaneers, if I'm being honest. It seems to be Bucks seem to be wrecking me at the moment. So yeah, it's a concern. I'm going to have to go and do some Jedi training, I think, with Yoda on Dagobah. That's for sure. I'm slacking. Anyway, but other than that, yeah, it's been good. It's been a good week so far, and last week was very good.
Cool. And Mr. Sol.create?
I've been fucking working all week, man. I've
Sounds
been working, I've been playing some Destiny. I've not been streaming. I've been preparing for what is going to happen this week. I'm not going to reveal it as of yet. You guys will see in the upcoming week.
When's the album out, DJ?
What album?
Yeah. Because you just look like a Dutch DJ with that hat on. You do. You look like a DJ.
Doesn't have to be like tilted just slightly to off center.
It's just literally.
I think it's his hair. It kind of pushes it slightly, and then it rights itself.
I can't wear a hat. Yeah, it's just perfect. It's just perfect. It's definitely, you can see there's an age. There's like the age that you got your dad, like the round kind of thing, which is I kind of know.
You're just about to say you got your dad on the left.
The age, you've got the age there. You've got the kind of the slightly. There's an older gentleman, like a few years older than me.
He's only 20.
And
talking about.
I just want to find out that I'm older than Nerd. That would be hilarious. So he's gone for the curve. I mean, you tell by generations, can't you? You tell by style, hats give away generations. My grandfather wore a certain hat when he was a cool dude. He wore his hat, and then every generation wears a different hat. And obviously, the Dutch DJ, he's gone for the straight gangster look, barely fitting on your head.
Is that what that is? The flat, the non-curved brim.
Yeah, it's just like it's all about freshness, from what I understand. The kids on the street, it's all about popping tags, isn't it? That's what I understand. Is that the word?
I don't know. The flat brim really pretty much is not a good shade from the sun from the side. This is a trucker's cap.
That's a proper cap. That's the one I know. No, those are the ones I used to bend my hats to deliberately get that shape because that's what it should have been. None of this straight nonsense. That was all wrong.
Yeah,
all wrong.
Just bend it for ages until it got there.
It was just wrong. No. Anyway, sorry, Saul. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Will be the last time I have to hear this nonsense anyway.
Oh yes, we have some sad news. Did you want to let everybody know if they care?
No,
I mean, they might care.
My last time on the Addicted podcast as a fully fledged member doing stuff. I'm going into lazy mode, so when I come on, I'll do fuck all, and these guys can do.
We gave a raw get out clause, an easy get out clause with the podcast, and people seem to be taking up on it.
Yeah, I think what happened is I don't know if anyone's been here, but in Britain at the moment there's a whole sleaze campaign going on, and Saul touched me inappropriately, so I had to make an announcement. It went into the newspapers, and so he's had to step down. Because he touched my knee, and I took great offense to him touching my knee. So I was like, it just shocked me, and I needed to just come out and tell everybody 6 years later. I mean, a few, yeah. So I'm afraid
that I've only known him since April.
You were totally triggered then, right?
It totally affected me in a very, very special way. I mean, in a very bad way.
Triggered!
Nice. And okay, we'll move on from that. And Mr. Uwernerd, how has your week been? What have you been up to? And any news? Not much.
Well, yeah. I got partnered on Friday night.
You what?
And have been having a celebration ever since. So I mean,
that's the way you gotta do it. You gotta tell them, hey, there, buddy, you gotta come on over here, and they're gonna give me the partnership, or you're gonna talk with my good friend Brutus over there.
Can I ask you a question? Because you're good at the impressions.
What's that?
How many impressions? How many impressions can you run? Can you run through? How many impressions you do?
Because you do quite good, actually.
How many? You've never counted?
I have never counted. I mean, I have a cold right now, so my impressions are. What's that?
Please not start counting on the stream because
I'm going
to get.
But I don't know. I mean, I could probably count offs. And.
Who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? I like Bugs Bunny a lot. Yeah.
Hey folks, how you been there, dear? This is Mr. Bugs Bunny, and whoops, take all the carrots from you. You stinker.
This is good.
That kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
I like Bugs Bunny, but I mean, I also like the. Hello there, this is Bullwinkle Moose, and I'm over here, and we're going to be talking about weird things today. Stuff like that, right?
Do you drive your daughter mad with them?
Oh, yeah. Actually, she really hates it when I do it in front of her friends, so I make sure to do it in front of her friends, like, all the time.
Of course. I can't wait to do that with my kid. Embarrassing.
Because, it's like, the one thing you don't want to... I saw this streamer earlier today, and he was like, hey, don't post those things in my chat. They're like smiley faces or something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody started doing it. It's like,
Yeah.
you do not tell your chat to don't do something.
No, exactly. That's
Because they'll all start doing it. I mean, as long as it's not like against the Twitch rules, or it can be filtered out, right?
yeah, definitely. So you've been partying all the time since you've been partnered, then?
Well, on stream a little bit, sure. But it really hasn't changed my stream kind of technique, I guess you could say, which is really just a little bit of cringe, well, maybe a lot of cringe, and a lot of impressions.
Yeah.
So you're not planning on taking a break. That's what happens with most of the. I take the piss out because Detox did the same. He's like, he got partner, and then he disappeared. But,
I'm not disappearing.
Bye, Star Citizen. See you later.
No. I'm doing
Thanks for the memories
that I've always done, right? And that's just basically just straight up continuing exactly what I've always done, just with more emotes.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That we were discussing off stream. We were just saying, I was asking, what the bits that he's most excited for about being partnered, and you were saying about the emotes, the extra emotes, and the extra ability to kind of customize your stream more. Which I think, having streaming myself for about a year now, it's like that is the coolest part that I love being creative as well. Is adding extra things, and as you stream, new things happen just naturally, don't they? Then you kind of want to draw it, or you want to add that to your stream, and you kind of. It's great. And then I reached the point where I go, well, I can't add any more because I've reached the limit of what I'm allowed to add. And it's like,
exactly. See, the thing about this is that it's that creative part of me that I ever since I found out that bits were customizable for partners.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's it. That's the reason why I want to be partnered, because I want bacon bits.
Bacon bits. Nice. Bacon. And who doesn't like bacon? And who doesn't like bacon bits?
I know, right? They make everything better, pie, cookies, cake, salads, if you happen to do that.
I'm not sure about ice cream, though. Do you reckon you could put bacon in ice cream?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah,
have you
definitely.
never had
No?
ice cream with bacon and maple syrup? A nice vanilla ice cream with bacon bits. Like, actually, if you cook the bacon yourself and then chop it up, sprinkle it over, and then a little maple syrup topping, oh my God, it's amazing.
Is it good? Because I'm thinking about it. I've had it with. To be fair, I have had it with obviously with pancakes and maple syrup and a bit of bacon, streaky.
Yeah, it's good, right?
But not ice cream though. I don't really put ice cream with it.
You should try it with vanilla ice cream, bacon sprinkled over the top, and then maple syrup. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, there can't be much that bacon doesn't
Pineapple,
go.
man. The only thing you don't put pineapple on is pizza. For the rest of it is good.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a fan of pineapple.
Oh, come on, man. A little bit of a tropical surprise.
Definitely don't want
After
surprise.
stream, I'll show you a little bit of that tropical surprise. Yeah.
Tropical supply. I'm pretty sure that tropical surprise is one of those nasty STDs you get when you're going to Thailand or something like that. You can tell us about that, right? A little bit.
Oh, who invited this guy on? Outrageous!
Oh my God!
Outrageous! Shots fired. Mute this guy. It's just because he's like comes on here, starts giving it the big balls all over the place. Jesus!
The only thing that madness has.
I'd be throwing balls around and getting STDs. That's what happens in
The only thing that madness has is a bit of a rash on the ass from driving a motorcycle when he was drunk. That's the only thing he has.
Yeah, that was it. I did a lot of moped. The thing in Vietnam is like they're a little bit more relaxed, shall we say, with kind of the rules generally, and so moped was used generally to go from bar to bar.
That's pretty much everywhere in Asia. I don't know anybody who has traveled to Asia, Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia. You got to be careful. You don't want to get caught as a non-Asian. Because they can really do a lot of they have really strict rules, but they hardly ever enforce
for themselves.
You know what I mean?
They do enforce it when they want a bit of this usually.
Yeah, right. They'll enforce it, but only when they want something out of you or something like that, or they want to make an example. And I know there are plenty of foreigners who have been made an example of over in Asia. But like my brother-in-law, he's Chinese. He's full ethnic Chinese. He's from Canada, though. But he and this friend of his, full-on white guy like me, so pale that you got to wear sunglasses to look at you in the sunlight. But
Reflecting.
They both got caught squatting in Taiwan. One guy got said, what the other guy, the white guy, he got kicked out of the country for good, banned from the country, deported forever. Never. My brother-in-law, he got sent to Hong Kong to get a new what do you call it? Visa and come back. I mean, it was just like, just gotta go. You gotta leave the country. You can come right back though.
Squatting. So in the UK, squatting is when you move into people's houses and steal them from them. And in Asia, from what I understand, it's taking a piss, and it could be taking a piss. Squatting is a position.
Yeah, no.
Take a piss.
Squatting. They were living in these unfinished condos. They basically they were building these condos. They never got finished because their builder ran out of money or something like that. So they were just living there, right?
Oh, so it's the same thing. Squatting.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, but that's, if you are Asian ethnically, but even if you've never, like you can't speak the language yet, they'll totally go easy on you. But if you're white, oh my God, don't break the law.
Doris, kill him.
I'm leading chat here. They say the same thing as me. I was torn, NVIDIA. It's between the two. It's you're stealing someone's house, or staying in someone's house illegally, or taking a shit in the road somewhere. That's pretty much kind of what I would have said. Or it could be a combination. You're squatting.
That kind of squatting in Asia, as long as you do it out of the view of other people, you're fine.
Some of the, honestly, like. Yeah.
Man, did you ever go into a restaurant and you're eating and you're like, oh man, I really got to go. And the only bathroom was one of them squatting toilets. You're like, God dang it.
If you come on my Discord and scroll up, you'll see a pictures I took and I posted from when I went to Vietnam. When I go to Asia, I've seen every type of toilet you could possibly imagine.
Dirty bastard. What have you done on those toilets?
What haven't I done?
Those toilets are just, I mean, so here's the thing. Whenever I go to a restaurant, and I learned really quickly, whenever you go to a restaurant, go check out the bathrooms before you sit down to order food.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Because we made the mistake. We bought a bottle of wine or something.
And, you're good, right? You can go and order food. But if you go in there and they're like, oh, yep, there's no sitting toilet. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to eat here.
Best toilets are just a hole in the ground. Well, that's literally what these things are. Just a hole in the ground. And it's I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever watched Billy Connolly, the comedian, but he talks about when I mean, we're going off a little bit of topic, and I'm just going to run. This will be the last thing, but
just a little bit.
We got way off topic.
His father was talking about when he worked in like the mills up in when they were building farms and not farms, building ships and stuff, and how the guys used to have like a trough. And it would be on a slant, and the water would go down, and people would you would have the toilet kind of like the wooden toilet separated up further up, but then the guys were standing there pissing in it, so you would see the wee jobbies coming down the line. And he was telling the story, and I was just laughing my ass off. People were like, "Oh, Frank's in the top toilet again. He's had Indian again."
Oh my God!
Aww. You can tell by each one who it is as well.
Flags in it and send it on the way down. You can like little message notes, stick them in the top. Anyway, it's a famous Billy Connolly. Obviously, I love him, so he was hilarious. Very, very funny. Very funny. Back to Star Citizen. Miz, did you talk about yourself?
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, what you been doing there, Miz?
What you been doing?
Not a lot. We've been doing some Destiny. I think that's mostly what I've been doing at the moment, and some more testing that we can't talk about. So mostly just Destiny 2. So yeah, but it's been good fun actually. I've been enjoying that more than I expected actually. But it's the story's quite good. We've gone through that. It didn't take too long to get through it. But it's just quite nice grouping up with people and doing stuff in a bit of a raid and. With Star Citizen being a bit flaky, trying to group up with people at the moment, and 2.6 being played to death. I'm looking forward to being able to grouping up and doing some group stuff when we get 3.0 though. So yeah, it's getting prepared for that maybe.
Yes.
But other than that, hopefully my creative streams might be starting again soon. I've been recovering from this horrible cold that's still lurking around since I kissed the wrong person at CitizenCon. It must have, spreads around a little bit. I blame a few people that were there.
Have you been snogging with Super Mag Brothers?
I was about to say,
exactly.
You didn't have He avoided the
bef-
rash.
It was when he shaved off his beard. He was just irresistible. So you know, we had to go there. But no, every time I fly anywhere, literally, I go on holiday and I get back and I've caught something off of the plane because it just cycles around the plane and there's nothing you can do about it. So
Listen, I
always get
would catch a cold from talking in front of other people's recorded video. You know.
Oh,
that's
here we
bad.
go. The jealousy in the Star Citizen community at the moment is so bad. Those salt levels.
Oh yeah. No, I've made a vow. I'm no longer.
Get yourself a personality, and maybe people will watch your stream.
Yeah, the convention plague is terrible.
The convention. Oh yeah, no, it's I have actually made a little personal thing. I won't. I've done hosting people now. So if I see people are just showing videos now, I won't host them.
You don't have to. He's got 170 followers without you.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't feel the need to host, but I won't do it. If people are just showing videos, I just won't do it because I kind of go. I want to show new people, at least some of the games that they're going to buy now.
Uber is a great example of a person, and
it's not. And I understand why they do it. I get it. There's nothing else to talk about.
Get your YouTube comments ready, boys. I will give you an answer on it as well. Like Ubernerd does it, there is still enough content to show new people and to get into the game and start playing without playing it in front of a video that someone else has recorded.
But no one's saying that there's not. But surely you could credit the viewers to watch whatever they want to watch. They can decide whether they want to see gameplay, or they can decide if they didn't want to watch someone talking in front of a video, they wouldn't watch it. No one's forcing them to go to his stream.
I set goals for myself. That's how I do it. You know, like for example, I set myself getting to 3,333,333. I'm close, but it's really hard to get that exactly to that number. So I got a lot of stuff, I got a lot of like math to do on screen and trying to go out there and find the, now I have to go out in search of the cigars and stuff like that. Cause it's like, you gotta get the exact right amount. And then I got to go out there and spend just the right amount of fuel or something to do that. So, I mean, that's, I figured out different, I guess you could call it sandboxy ways to make gameplay happen, right? Where normally people are going, there's nothing else to do out here because all they can think of is the theme parks, right? If all you can play is a theme park, then this is not for you right now.
Well, it's always better than watching Miz. It's always better than watching a little bit of madness. It's always better watching you and Mac on.
There's the counter. Well, the thing is, I'm always getting ribbed because I'm playing and I'm investing too much. People are always saying, Madness reads 2 lines of text every 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm engaged in combat. So therefore, when people come in, they don't necessarily get that involvement which they would get from, say, when they go to these other people, because the person's literally just all they're doing is looking at chat, talking, engaging, and I can understand the appeal of it. And that's what we're doing now. That's why we do the podcast. We're doing the same thing. So that's why I'm not too thingy about it. I'm just like, that's that thing. I don't do it other than when I do the podcast, and that's fine. And when 3.0 comes out, because I understand a lot of these people are doing it because they're utterly bored of 2.6.
Well, Mac's been playing, that's fine. And I've been playing it since a year
he's only
now, probably 2.6.
He's only one person,
right? And on top of that, it's like he does videos. He's showing other people's videos, but he also does videos himself every week, every Sunday. So it's not like he's not putting content out there himself. And he has an extremely huge knowledge of the game. And so everybody that's in his chat is asking him questions and he knows the answers. So he's not just sitting there going, and this is a planet, and this if people are coming there for the content he's providing is information about Star Citizen. And at the end of the day, you're seeing gameplay in the background. If people want to see someone actually playing it and doing it, then they will go somewhere else and they'll watch someone actually playing it. It's not really an issue, in my opinion. You do what you want to do.
Don't go watch
It's
Madness.
the same as
I like that everybody has their own kind of take on Star Citizen. That's what makes Star Citizen so good, and that's what makes that Little Bit does his type of gameplay. It's really who he is, and he's really good at it. And I have my type of more of relaxed style of gameplay. I mean, I am watching a lot of the videos lately because I just can't get enough of that art corp. My type of gameplay is more of the adventure, explore, kind of set a goal for yourself. More of, I can talk a lot with my viewers because of that, right? So it's a little bit different. But then, board gamer, not a lot of gameplay with him. A lot of information, answering questions. WTFosaurus also has his kind of everybody here has their own kind of method to the way that they stream. And I think that the variety is eventually going to pay off for everybody, because once the bigger patches start hitting and coming in, and all, first we get Crusader with just the moons, and then maybe 3 months or 4 months down the road we get ArcCorp added into that mix, and who knows where it's going to go after that. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to grow so much.
You raised I mean, that's the thing, is the scope. I mean, we've already seen the scope of it with just seeing the procedural cities and the procedural planets, the scope of the actual physical scope of the game. But in terms of the professions, the ships, and the overall type of gameplay that there is, I agree completely. The amount of the streaming at the moment is so limited still by what we can do. As this comes out, the amount of streamers and new streamers that will come in and will be doing different things that we probably never even thought of doing or are even remotely interested in. There'll be a whole new branch of that coming out of this game as well, which would be really exciting to see, I think, because it's kind of got into kind of a real rut, in my opinion, of there's this type, there's this type, there's this type. And it's like, I can't wait for them to bring out more gameplay, so we'll start to see more people trying new things and coming up with new things. I'm always surprised by new people coming up. Things like Saurus did that one where he did the trip. He just said, I'm going to sit in this ship and I'm going to travel from this point to this point. And no one had done that before. And I was like, I can't wait for more of that type of thinking and to come into this game and see more people doing cool things. And even
somebody circumnavigating a moon on foot or something like that.
I've tried to do what Ubana did and set goals for stuff, trying to earn money, but all I kept doing was getting into the negative all the time. It's like I'm going to earn some money today, and then I'd end the stream and I'd literally back on 0 credits because I keep crashing. So it's I don't get credits very well.
I don't know how you do it. I personally, this is the thing that we're talking about gameplay. I don't know how you do it. And for me, the idea of trying to grind at the moment to a number that's going to get wiped the next patch, which is only a couple, seems to me utterly pointless, because that's just me. And whereas you would look at me and go, sitting around outside ICC with the saber blowing up auroras seems absolutely pointless. And that's the beauty of this game. And we're kind of repeating ourselves.
Oh, I don't see that as pointless. I see that every single play style has its purpose, right? Exactly, yeah. So sitting around going and getting yourself to the 5 tier, like the most wanted, right? So, public enemy, you get yourself that status, and then you just sit there and taunt people at ICC, hoping that they attack you, right? And that's one style of gameplay that is to practice your skills. Maybe somebody comes in and they attack you because they're new, and they're like, ooh, look, public enemy, let's try to take him out. And you're like, boom. Or then somebody comes in and they come and attack you, and you're like, ooh, this is a really challenging fight here, And so that's all the kind of stuff that you guys, every single gameplay is it's what attracts you. And that's even in this very, very limited 2.6.3 that we have right now. There still is a lot. There's a lot of exploration. I went, you guys know the 8th mission, right? With the nebula in there, that red nebula, right? I went there one time and there were 4 or 5 people going, where the hell is this? Is this the new thing? I'm like, have you guys never done that? And these were streamers. These were guys that have been streaming for a long time.
Yeah.
And they had no clue. They were like, that's in the game? I said, yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. People get to the sort of doing a couple of ICC missions and that's about it. They don't get too far. But what is nice about this early gameplay, even like you said, there's not too much to do, but what it does is it lets you hone in on things that you enjoy doing and getting better at it. So when these mechanics come in, we're going to enjoy them even more, because there'll be more control of what you've got to do. So earning your money or more things to spend your money on. It just, if you think you can enjoy it now, adding extra features that we're going to be getting in 3.0 is just going to increase your enjoyment tenfold. But I think there's
exactly.
I think there's, like you said, there's gameplay for every, and that's it. And even now on a small 2.6 that we've got, it's still allowing for multiple different types of game. You got there's racing. Not many people do that, but it's still an option. You've got the Star Marine, or you've got FPS in the PU. You've got you've still got exploring, and you've still got a few missions to go and do. So even with this,
there's even the a really, really limited version of salvage, right? You could, if you could find all the points. I started looking for that. What is that? Neutronium. There's some sort of in the Yella asteroid belt. There's this one special location that has
unobtainium.
I don't think it's like called neutronium or something like that. But anyways,
Yeah.
I haven't found it yet. So there's something in this game that I still haven't found, and I've been flying around there for a long time. So
That's great. That's true. I mean, it took me a while before I figured out where Benny's henge was, or whatever it was.
yeah, Benny Henge. But there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you'll find and go, oh my God, I didn't even realize that this was here. Like there's a giant piece of a giant ship out there in the asteroid field.
Oh,
Yeah.
nerd, you were the
Have you guys
first
seen that?
person. Nerd, you were the first person that I ever saw. Like I was watching streams, as you do, like any other nerd streamer out there. I was watching other people's streams, and then I saw there's a video clip in front of you. Suddenly, looks like you were standing on a planet, your character, and I was like, "Have I missed something?" And you had landed on an asteroid,
Yeah.
and you'd got out of your ship and were wandering around on an asteroid.
So unfortunately, the ships don't land very nicely on the asteroids. But yeah, it's
Well,
I've done
no.
that a few
So
times, but-
I
And I'd
can
never-
land
I've never
where
seen it
it
before.
actually gets this. It basically lands and it sticks. I can
Oh,
get
okay,
it to
you
land
mentioned
and
that,
stick.
yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
done that, and some of the ships don't stay, and depends on the asteroid as well. But if you find a nice flat spot, you can get your ship to land and stick. Now
Yeah.
you can't walk around, but you can get out and float next to it.
It looks like
landed
you're
and-
walking. It
It
looks
looks
you're
like it. Yeah, it looks like you're
Mm.
walking.
And he kind of got the weird. I did it because you did it, and I was like, "Oh, I want to go do that." So I did it, the same thing, and then I realized how crappy the graphics are on the actual asteroid. It's all shifting, moving around, and stuff.
Right, it has this kind of oily look to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
The issue is that I went and tested it out, and I think it's like 1,000 it's like a kilometer away. It looks really good, right? So it's basically the LOD that they have for the asteroids. The closest good LOD is about 1 kilometer.
Wow, I didn't know
I think
that.
there was some asteroids when you land on your feet, kind of sunk into the rock
Yeah.
as well. Like the surface texturing wasn't all that great either, but like you said, from that distance before it pops out, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
Oh, and don't land on the ones in the yellow asteroid field, except for the ones that have something attached to them. So
Okay.
every other one moves, and you'll notice how it pushes your ship when you try to
Well,
land.
they're going to move more, aren't they? In 3.0, that's the thing. Is they're going to be spinning. They're going to be moving more, from what I understand, in 3.0. The
Yeah, I think so. I won't be able to do any of that testing. I'm going to be testing all of that out when the PTU goes to the live version.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that online with the viewers.
Well, I'll be interested to see if you can actually, if they're going to improve. I'm guessing the asteroids will be able to be land. It will be better than the ones now. You'll be able to land on them as if they're procedurally generated moons, right?
Right. I don't know that we're going to have the voxel ones yet, but I know that is the ultimate goal, is that all of the asteroids in the Star Citizen verse will be the voxel ones, meaning destructible. Right.
Because they're going to have to be, because if you're effectively going to be potentially mining some of these things with the prospector, they're going to need to be interactable. You have to interact with them, right? So they need to do
so they
that.
got to work on the voxel technology to make sure that it's not eating up a lot of CPU or GPU cycles, because they don't want. Think about it. If you had like the asteroid belt around Yella as all voxel.
No, I understand that.
asteroids, it could be pretty hard. So they have to work on the LODs and all that stuff for that.
Maybe they'll do, like, when you play other games and just ballpark thinking, they'll do it so that you can tell the difference between the asteroids. So you'll know the ones which are voxel are the ones that you can engage with your prospector. You can scan them with the prospector. It'll scan and it'll indicate, and then you go close to them and you'll be able to start to recognize them just from scanning, and potentially visually being able to know that those are the ones that you can potentially land on and mine and interact with, whereas the other ones will be just standard.
I hope it's not a visual cue. I hope it is they all look the same. In terms of the surface and all that other stuff, but you'd have to actually scan them in order to be able to know. Because if it was visual, then that would kind of be like, oh, all you have to do is look around. Oop, that's a good one. Nope. And that seems kind of.
They're all going to be destroyable, though, aren't they?
Gold is visual. You can see gold. You can see line. You can physically see gold when you get close to it. You can see lines and precious stones and different things in rocks.
Well, sure,
quartz and
but
things.
I'm hoping that the vast majority, that the way that they look at it is that at least
buried in the rock sort of thing.
Yeah. The vast majority is buried, and all the stuff that would have been like the low-hanging fruit kind of minerals had already been mined hundreds of years ago. Because a lot of the places that we're in, are going to be places that have been visited before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Good, cool. Right.
And I mean, obviously, this isn't in 3.0 because we're not getting
No.
mining.
No,
3.0,
no
but
mining
it's-
in 3.0.
I mean, they
yet.
wanted to
3.1?
eventually. I mean, that's one thing we haven't seen, is it? Because they kind of, at one point, I think Brian said that they were looking at getting mining into 3.0, and then they said it's just not going to make it. But we haven't seen anything on it at all. So, I mean, they're obviously doing it, and it'd be interesting to. I think they're kind of doing it in the
Well,
background.
the thing
so I
is,
think they
though,
must be-
is that we also hadn't seen anything on the procedural cities, and oh my
that's
god,
what I mean, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, mining's just going to hit us in the face. I think it's going to be instead of showing us, they kind of just seem to be. Maybe they're not 100% on how they want it to work, or there's little things that stop them actually revealing it properly. But I mean, it's obvious they're working on it, because they wouldn't have said that they were aiming for 3.0.
So here's my thing with when what you guys are talking about, and this is not being salty. I'm just looking at what we've had.
If you say that in advance,
Yeah, that's almost like
If you say that in
I don't mean
I'm
to
not being
offend
sorry.
you, but
I'm not being salty.
I'm not
but-
being salty. However, what I am going to say is, and I'm actually putting a question out there. If you were to look at all the mechanics of animations and things that they've done leading up to this point, and talking about mining coming in and blowing people away, procedurally generated planets and the way they've done that is mind-blowing and fantastic. I agree. But then in terms of all the small mechanics and animations that they've tried to show us, I'm trying to think of anything that like that works amazing and stands out to me as like a masterpiece in
what we
mechanics.
just saw at CitizenCon. Well, it's not a mechanic,
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. So you're talking about like mining and the way that it's drilling and doing things in animation, and it's kind of work. I still haven't yet seen them. Like we always talk about this. I talk about the Reclaimer doing grinding up. I've seen beautiful visuals and procedural. Don't get me wrong.
I think
fucking
mechanic-wise,
amazing.
we haven't had a lot of mechanics
That's what I
as
mean.
such,
Yes.
really, at the moment.
It's all still clunky.
However, I mean, there's obviously, because this is something that we can kind of go on later about the Pioneer and the base building, but there's obviously certain things that, because of the way the game's decided to go down the more realistic route, it's very difficult. So, like in the traditional MMO we've said about before, if you had a base, it'd kind of be in your invisible backpack, and you go, right, I want a wall, or I want to put a hub down, and you'd hover in the air and you'd place it down. Well, obviously the game is not going to allow us to do that. Because it doesn't allow us to do that, it's going to make a lot of building things and things like that a lot more difficult, because they would need to physically show it. And I think they've mentioned with the Pioneer that what a lot of things are going to be like trickery behind the scenes or hidden. So building the base, especially like on the Pioneer, the doors will close over. You won't see the actual manufacture of the base, the hub, and then it'll open up and it'll be pre-built sort of thing. So I'm guessing if that's what they're going to do for the Pioneer, you're going to get a similar thing for the Reclaimer. So if it grabs a ship, pulls it in, you might see the wheels grinding the thing up and just smashing it to pieces, but you won't see anything else. Then all of a sudden the things will be magically put into different compartments for, different alloys and copper and all that crap. And the same again for mining.
There's not a lot of MMOs where you see those mechanics either. I think Arcade is the one that comes closest to that, where when you're going to build a house, that you physically have to run around with the compartments and build it piece per piece per piece. I think most MMOs, all these mechanics are in the background, and what Miss says, in an invisible backpack. So I think it's great to see that Star Citizen went for the other approach, which is more towards realism. But I never think you would fully see that they're going to grab the ship, Reclaimer example, that they're going to grab the ship, it's going in the Reclaimer, you're going to see it grind it up. I think you will see parts of that.
I think they're going for it. I think
hope.
having seen procedural planets and seen them, I genuinely think they're all completely like, yeah, we can do it. We'll do everything. We can do it.
I think you'll see them grinding. I think you'll grab the ship and grind
They're
it
gonna go
up,
for it.
definitely. I just don't think you'll see. You won't be in there picking through the rubbish, going, right, oh, there's some copper wire, I'll pull that out. You're not going to get into that sort of detail, splitting it up.
We can't hear you, nerd.
We can't hear you, nerd.
You're
He's muted himself.
You muted.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
I wanted to say that I think that they are going to make us pick through the rubble. And the issue is that you're going to go in there and take out the modules. It's not going to be like copper wire, like you were saying, but it is going to be like, okay, here's a shield generator, here's some fuses, anything that's not destroyed from the explosion of the ship or from the the situation that made it a derelict means that you go into that ship first, you take out everything that's not broken, and then you crunch the thing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're not going to. Don't know what I was thinking then.
You're not going to go. You're not going to be pulling out wire or little bits and pieces of metal or iron or separating it.
Yeah, and you're not going to. Yeah, you're not going to sort it after it's been crushed up. That's what I was kind of saying. So after it churns it up, and the same with, I think, with mining, you might use the computer to. I think they were saying, like in the Orion, wasn't it, that you'll sit on the computer and you'll do whatever the mini game is to mine, but I think it'll automatically. And again, I suppose maybe with the prospect, if you're sucking at an asteroid and it's getting resources out, and you've got like them tanks that are on the side of the thing, you're not going to physically sort through it all to put things in one
that
box.
Will be
It'll magically go into the boxes.
Yeah, what they did talk about with what I thought about like mining is that you are going to have to be able to identify the pockets of gas, where the minerals are, certain maybe areas of possible explosive, like maybe there is something down there that might cause an explosion, not just gases, but other things as well. Maybe there's radioactive materials that you're trying to avoid while you're extracting the stuff that you can use. And all that stuff is going to be seen from your screen. You're going to have one person who's doing the scanning and saying, okay, go to your right. The other guy said, okay, see that? I'm going to mark this pocket green. This you do not want to touch. So the guy who's scanning, the scanner operator, will tag something, mark it, and then the guy who's the drill operator go, okay, I'll avoid that. And then because you're going to have each job in the Orion be that kind of way. In the Prospector, you're going to have to do all that first. So you're first going to have to do a preliminary scan. Then you have to mark all the things that are dangerous. Then you get onto your drill, and then you'll be guiding the drill by hand, right? Because it's supposed to be a skill-based game, right? You're not supposed to be able to just push a button, automate it. Now, they said that's a possibility.
Don't get me started on the it's a skill-based game, press one button and win. Torpedoes, just gonna say. Missiles and torpedoes.
That's a mechanic that was just kind of
balancing. That's got
where is this
I'm referring to that's a one button press. So, and I'm waiting to see if
it's not going to be a one button kill all, is it? That's just how it is at the moment. So.
You remember what they said about torpedoes in terms of their ability to maneuver, right? They're not very maneuverable, and that's what's changing. Right now, they're too maneuverable.
They're guided at the moment.
But I agree with you. That's what they've said. They've always mentioned that it's going to be a skill-based game, and I hope that they maintain that. And if for every profession, I agree completely, needs to have skill in it. I mean, at the moment, let's be honest, multiplayer ships suck.
Well, this is
the first multiplayer thing they're bringing in is cargo, right? And that's going to take right now. What they've said is that when you get when you put the cargo in your ship, it's just going to pop in, and then when you get to your destination, it's going to pop out. But eventually, the goal is they want you to load it the way you want, and you get to maximize the efficiency of your loading.
Yeah,
and so those who are really good at maximizing the efficiency of the different size crates are going to get a better load into their ship. They're going to know what to load first, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, which is perfect. That's exactly what it should be. The people who invest the time and energy in that profession will become the experts of that profession. That's what they should be.
A bit of Tetris in the back of your ship, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also speed as well, right? Because time is money effectively in the game as well. The longer you take, the quicker you can move on to the next job. So you'll want to be able to know what you should be taking, what you shouldn't be taking, and that's garbage. That's not going to make me enough money. You'll need to know what goods are the best goods to trade. And also, they talked about how if something's a bit like, again, I'm not going to name the game, but there are other games where certain areas of space, they have a plethora of this minerals resources. So I don't need to go to that area to sell the same thing because it won't be worth anything. I'll need to go to another area, and so you'll know what goods and stuff. That'll be interesting to see.
Well, that's whole down to the economics of what is going to be happening, and I think that was that on one of the ATVs or one of the CitizenCon things, or there was someone did a Q&A with Tony. Zurevich, wasn't it? And it was basically an article on the economics of everything and how it's going to be a bit more like our own stock market. So even if like a company is going down, it won't naturally mean that the resource values will go down, because there'll be chance for other backers to say, well, hang on, if we give them this, they'll improve or whatever. And so the whole thing is going to be a lot more living than compared to some old MMO type games. So,
but also, they did say that we would be able to affect that as well. If you blockade certain jump points, certain minerals or materials won't get through. That the longer the jump that they have, like, you know, what if the Vandal once it goes live? What if the Vandal attacks start cutting off certain jump points, making a longer route that you have to take to get around? I'm not going to try to say that because for some reason my words are just not working correct.
Fouling.
But
it's going to be really interesting to see how all of this pans out over the next couple of. I mean, the biggest thing for me that I got, like I said last week, and I still said, and I continue to say that from CitizenCon was obviously if Chris Roberts can, he said it before, but if he can, and I think with the Delta patch, they will be able to deliver far more content, hopefully quickly next year, and we'll be able to get to a better place because they recognize we can't have 12 months without new fresh content to play. We really need
what we want to watch out for though, man, is that we're not going to see the Delta patcher as the next holy thing that is coming, because it's not going to be, you know what I mean?
Well, it's in 3.0.
But it's, you know, we're all, and I'm guilty of it, you know. I'm like, oh, Delta patcher, we're going to see more stuff. I think that will still be to a limit, you know what I mean? It's still it's going to be a lot cheaper for them because you don't have to press 40 gigs out to people anymore, but it will be in smaller increments. But I don't think it's going to be the holy grail of the whole new thing. First seeing, then believing, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember last year's CitizenCon where he said, oh, this and this is going to come. 3.0 is going to come then and then. And now he promised us 4 times, and it's not meant salty. And now he promised us quarterly patches. I want to first see, then believe, you know what I mean?
That's fine. That's fine.
Technically, what he said about the 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, it was meant to be kind of these incremental patches that you're going to get throughout the year. I think what he said on stage at CitizenCon was kind of an address to that, and he realised himself that realistically he'd asked them to put more stuff into the game for 3.0 and having it delay for like a year. I think that's what he was kind of saying. It wasn't good. That wasn't right. It was a bad decision. So the option to do the 4 installments, if they, it definitely will make a big improvement if they do it, and that's the thing. It's if they do it. Yeah. If he sticks to it, then the Delta patch will 100% be the reason for this to work and give us a lot more content, because that's what a part of what I think they were waiting for all year, is to get this Delta patcher working, because it makes a huge difference in them being able to give us content.
They were going to give us, okay, so here's the thing, they were going to give us a lot of content, a lot more content than we have right now. They were going to give us that, being able to land on these procedural moons, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming in, but it was going to come in with the old patcher. And they probably had a meeting and sat down and said, well, all the pack files are 3 gigs or 3.5 gigs each, right? And in order to, and sometimes a single update part of it's contained in this one, part of it's contained in this one, and part of so you basically have to update the full 30 gigs every single time. And it makes, basically, they said halfway through the year, if we do it this way, if we go this route halfway through the year, we're going to run out of money because we're going to be spending so much money on bandwidth. So they said and they probably said in a meeting and said, look, if we don't, we just have to get the Delta patcher done.
I doubt they're going to run out of money. No, I think they're probably going to spend more money than we want.
He means like wasting money on that budget.
Every department has a budget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the company would have run out of money. I'm saying that they made a budget for their networks. They made a budget for their networking and for what that cost would be. And if they'd gone forward with what they'd wanted to with the old patcher, they would have spent through the budget that was meant for that. But with the Delta patcher coming on board, they will be able to stay within that budget because of the much less bandwidth use that they're going.
Well, what I think they've done for 3.0 as well is what Ubernerd says. I think they completely had to redistribute the whole game over packages, so that if you change one thing, it does not affect 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 packages, but just one package. So they probably had to redo the whole logistics again. That's just my guess. I don't know if this is true, but they
had to completely remake the pack files.
Exactly,
So, but the thing for me is what I thought was interesting is what Chris, this is the key part of what he was saying that got me actually quite excited. Also give him a slight get out clause, but it was the bit where he mentioned that if they ultimately will have a schedule, some things were going to get finished just like naturally. Some things will get finished early. Some things might take a bit longer. That's to be expected. That's normal. Things don't always work out, aren't perfect all the time. But what they did,
Right.
what they by saying that they're going to stick to a quarterly schedule, they mean at 3.1 stage we will get content because they have the Delta patcher and they will deliver us that amount of content that's ready to give to us. They don't have to wait now to hit all these markers and say this bit that's holding us up because they want to get into one patch.
Yeah,
That's where the Delta patch is going to help.
No
us.
guarantee on what the content is, but a guarantee that content will come.
Yeah,
and that's
it's like all the time. There's constantly stuff like we just said about the procedural cities are being developed on, and we don't see it. There's always multiple things being developed at once. Now, obviously, what's happened before is say like a ship's been ready. Like we've had the Starfarer and the Herald. They've come and they've been at like weird times. Now they've been ready and been sitting there, but they don't just say, "Well, let's release that," because it means a whole 30 gigabyte download patch for everybody. Whereas now,
I got a question for all you guys here. So in this last ATV, in the burn down, they had that one guy talking about that quantum travel bug where it would get him out of quantum travel 7 million kilometers before reaching Hurston. Why did that have that in the burn down?
I don't know whether they have a lot of things in the burn down.
Well, I don't know about Hurston, but it's something that they're working on in.
There is something.
No, it was about Hurston. It was about doing that quantum travel to Hurston and coming out 7 million kilometers too soon, right? Yeah. So they had that was I was like, well, gosh, does that mean they're really pushing for the like? I know that it's not coming out in 3.0, but does that mean that they're really pushing to have Hurston and that come out in the first iteration?
Well, I think the fact that we've seen the Hurston for the CitizenCon demo and ArcCorp as well, then it means that they're obviously working on it. So, like you said, that being shown in Burndown is that it's showing you that someone's testing it, someone's going there and trying to get the navigation and things to work. So,
well, yeah, that made me excited. You said it. They have teams that do different things. They have sprints going off left, right, and center all the time.
But
so
remember, all burn down it's not like they just mistakenly let something out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you mean. They deliberately.
It's not a mistake, man. They deliberately put that in there. If you talk about quantum travel in 3.0, they could have easily said, "Oh, when going from Olisar to Daymar or something like that, you came out too soon." They could have done that, but they didn't. They purposely included the information about that in the burn down. So it kind of it's like a little give to the community saying, "Look, guys, we know we want to get 3.0 out to you with all the stuff that we've promised because it's locked down. Nothing extra, no ArcCorp, no Hurston is coming into that, but because we're including this in the burn down, we want to let you know that we're hoping that this will come in the next one."
There is one explanation for it, though, is the fact that they did it on the CitizenCon demo, and they obviously jumped to Hurston, and it had to stop in the planet. So that may well have been a recording from one of the bugs that they had while trying to do the CitizenCon demo. Because they went from ArcCorp from the station to Hurston.
Would that have been in the? I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird that they included that in the burn down when it didn't have anything to do with. Because I thought the burn down was about just 3.0, right?
Well, that's what makes it weird anyway. Because we know we're not going to get Hurston in 3.0.
Ask the devs.
It is unusual. I know, but then that's happened a few of these burn downs. Because I expected the burn downs to turn and say, "Well, I expected them to just turn and say, well, these are the," because they had like key blockers. And I thought they would just say to us, "These are the key blockers, and this is what's blocking us from getting it to." But they're not. They're just going on about bugs that are in the 3.0. They're not saying this one's a key blocker or anything like that. They're just saying, "Oh, and this one's jumping you out here," and this. So the burn down's kind of weird. It's just they're just explaining bugs. I don't think it does.
Before it was all about 3.0 though, so that's why I was just a little bit kind of was thrown off by that. Plus, I got myself hyped. I always do that, but it's fun.
No, I think that's the best way to be, though. I mean, like we all love it. We all love this game. We're all streaming it and we're all playing it over and over and over. I'd rather be that. I'd rather be hyped. I'd rather look at the positives and think, "Oh, look, this is coming. They're working on it," than to be the one that sits there and goes, "Yeah, this ain't come. This ain't been done. That's not been done." Because it wants to do that. If you feel like that, then play something else. Really, what's the point? We want to be excited for it.
Yeah.
We don't want to get let down all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But in the original, 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 release schedule that's no longer visible to us. I still don't know what they were including. In there.
We got 5 screenshots.
I've got that. We've got that.
Everyone's got
3. it. 3.1, they were said ArcCorp, right?
Mm.
So that's why you see ArcCorp looks so. I mean, it looked really polished, even though
it looked amazing.
It looked really polished. It looked really good, and I think that they really want ArcCorp to come out like in what do you call it? When would that be? In April, right? So the first quarterly release would be like April, right?
It all depends. It all depends
where they're starting from, yeah.
Because what's going to be what's the procedural thing they want to drop first, Honor? The procedural city or the procedural planet or both?
Well, we're going to get in 3.0, we're getting procedural planets. Yes, they're moons, but I mean, they are planet sized, kind of. I mean, and so we're getting moons. We're getting the procedural planets first with outposts, right? So Daymar, Yela, Selen, and then, of course, Delamar, which is a procedural asteroid, right? So we're getting all that first. But then what comes after that, at least in the original schedule, was ArcCorp. That was the next one. And then Hurston was coming in 3.2, and then 3.3 stretch goal was Microtech, right?
Mm.
Also Orison, the landing zone on Crusader, because that's when they figured that the gas giant tech would be finished.
Yeah. I think it's, for me, looking at that schedule that we saw before, and this is like one of the big things for CitizenCon was the procedural cities, because I know they said before they were working on something like that, and I could imagine for like a smaller area doing a procedural city. But this is one of the things I discussed a lot with Mac and other people, is like having a whole planet. I was just like, I just can't see how you can cover a whole planet in a city, and then they just go bang and go, well, there you go. Now, obviously, we didn't fly around the whole planet, but if they can expand it that much, then there's no reason.
It looked like it was at least half a planet was covered in a city.
And that view that most people have clipped from the outpost looking down, it's just
it's
wow.
massive.
So,
but here's the thing. So I have no doubt that the entire planet is covered with city. And I knew from the beginning, even before Sean Tracy clarified that, hey, we're not filling every single building there with internals, right?
Yeah, I knew that as well.
That was not going to be the case. But I went through and I did a little bit of math, because they said we know that all of the terrestrial planets in Stanton are considered super Earths, right? So they're much bigger than the actual Earth. But in this game, because everything is downsized, they are the exact size of the super Earth, meaning about 6,000 kilometers radius, right? Or 12,000 kilometer in diameter. So if you figure out the surface area, even if you had like 0.1% with cities that you could go into and run around inside the building. So 0.1% of a planet the size of Earth covered in city, that would still be about 500,000 square kilometers of cities and buildings and stuff like that.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, the numbers in it. And that's why anyone that thinks that every interior was going to be visible, like maybe in a normal city, perhaps, but in a planet made of no way. You couldn't.
No way.
They said you couldn't physically see any in all the shops and that either. So it's just
why. And I tried to make this explanation by also Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky examples. There's no way that you'll ever visit every single planet. There's no every single system. And why do you need that much? Why not make like Star Citizen 100 plus systems, 100, 200 systems with planets, and all of them being, procedurally bespoke, right? So they're building these procedural tools that the artists can then use to really magnify their creations, right? So that a couple.
As I was going to say, just because you're saying, why would you want to do that? And I would say the reality is that no one had done it before. No one had created worlds where we had billions of stars. They did it, and then we realized, actually, we kind of don't really need to have a billion
doesn't mean
stars.
better.
Doesn't mean better, But they had to do it first for us to realize that actually procedural technology is fantastic, but we need to kind of put it in the hands of artists who can then take it and then make it what you just said, Nerd. Because I completely agree, but we have to do that initial step to then realize what we actually want. It's kind of a weird one, but yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just thought I'd
And there are a lot of people who are, I guess you could say, hedging their bets or being they're withdrawing into more pessimistic outlooks in terms of how soon we're going to get stuff, right? And I can understand that because it's been such a hard road for a lot of citizens who've been hoping we're going to get something only to be disappointed, hoping we're going to get something only to be disappointed. But what they don't really understand, and they're not looking at, I think, in a more constructive way, is it has been about the tools. It has been all about the tools. It's why it's taken so long for us to get anything into our hands, is because they needed to build the tools that would allow them to do this. They tried building it by hand and they realized, oh my God, there's no way we're going to ever do this if we have to build everything by hand. So then they really started focusing on the tools. And at that point, when they really started focusing on the tools, we went into content drought for 2 years. I mean, we still had a couple patches in 2016, but seriously, we have been in content drought for more than 2 years because they have mostly focused on the tools to really bring us what we saw this CitizenCon.
Exactly. And this is like, we've mentioned it a few times on here, and it's when we was at CitizenCon with, had like a little interview with Brian, and that's exactly what he said, like, I think that was 2 years ago, and he was like, we're working, they had procedural planets, he said we've managed to do it, but that's not what they were working on. They were working on the tools to allow people to craft that, to make it better, and the advantage of these tools is you can give them to somebody else that's creative, that doesn't have to worry about all the maths and everything else and how it all works. They just have to get in there, get the paintbrush, start playing with it and creative and making that planet without having to worry about anything else, like how shaping things and things like that.
Did you see how quickly they were able to make the truck stop, right? Or the city, right? With the city, with the interiors, one person could probably make it in a day, less than a day. And that includes all of the testing, like walking through it, talking to the AI, seeing if there's any collision that you need to be wary of. Just one day for, a district in a city. So an entire city that would be, let's say an entire city that's not like covering a planet, but let's just say a city on a planet that like Terra, right? I think these bigger cities like Terra, New York, Moscow, these kind of cities, they're going to want to have most of them explorable with lots of interiors, and they will take a month or two to build. With the tools, they would have taken years to build without, right?
Exactly.
So I'm not so salty or upset that it's taken so long to get to this point. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I want to get in there and just play my heart out, but I totally understand. This is why it has taken so long, because they need to make these tools, test the tools, make the tools, test the tools, and then get to that point where they can then hand them to the artists and say, okay, guys, start making planets.
Fun. Yeah. And what's interesting as well is those tools aren't just for the creating of the planet side as well. It's like that animation thing. That was another tool. So now you can just stick that on any character, on any NPC, and it'll animate, it'll know what it's walking up against, it'll walk over things. It don't have someone having to sit there and say, right, well, now you step up because there's something in your way. It will do it. And so it's
like the Addicted podcast as well. We need tools like a little bit of madness to keep this show going. So it's like...
I was going to say, Miz, that was the mechanics. That was the mechanics that I saw, the most recent mechanics that I saw, which gave me confidence that they'll be able to deliver all the other complicated mechanics that I'm excited about for the gameplay. Walking mechanic.
So why they made those walking tools, though, was not, because I don't think, none of them were thinking about like stepping over boxes or, falling down pipes or all that stuff, like oversized footballs, for ogres or something like that. They weren't thinking about that. They actually were like, okay, now we got these god-awful giant planets where there may be a mountaintop, like Steve Bender was saying, you have this mountaintop, you have never been there before. How do you know? How does your character know where to step?
How to stand,
right?
Yeah.
So they had to basically invent something. And this is inventing, right there. How do you walk on a procedural planet in a location you've never seen before?
So that got me thinking, will they have climbing animations?
I think somebody said that, yes, they are going to have, like, as the slope increases, your character will start using hands more, right?
like climbing walls, because like we see it in like, you know, if anyone's played Drake or whatever, you know, you can see the dodgy wall, and then you see the slight kind of different colorations where, you know, you can, or the mesh metting where you can put your character to climb up and stuff. I was kind of curious if they were going to do something.
And that's what I
like
was
that.
talking about on my stream the other day as well. I want there to be, if you get to a 90-degree, you know, a wall climbing up an Everest type mountain like we saw in last year's CitizenCon, right? I'd love to.
How do you get up there?
Yeah, exactly, right.
There's no spaceship.
Dropping off on a spaceship, but
Yeah.
but my you know, like, the thing that I would like to see most would be for us to be able to, as the slope became steeper and steeper, you would use hands more and more, to the point where maybe, you know, how we have that inner thought system, right? Maybe how they're working on that inner thought system where you look at areas and you see, okay, and you could do it quick. Once you got used to it, you could do it pretty quick, and you'd climb, right?
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be very cool. That would be very, very cool.
Or even you just like use the inner thought, you lock onto a climbing mode because it's the climb wall, and then it climbs it like a ladder kind of thing. You don't need to click every bit to climb it. I don't know.
It would be nice if they could just like randomly dot them, and then those would be like latch-on points that you would grab onto.
The problem they have with that is, if it's a procedural planet, like you just said, with the whole walking up to things, you would have to have random dots. I don't know how you'd even begin.
You wouldn't have to hand place them though, right? If the game would go, oh, it's a 90-degree wall. This one has no random dots, so you can't climb it, or this one has a couple random. You know, I mean, so you could make it so that the procedural tech would go, oh, based on the slope, it's gonna
create a random scattering, and then you have to figure out, just as if you're a real climber, how to work your way up the wall.
Exactly.
And there may be a case of where you can't actually get up the wall because the procedure has just made it so hard that you maybe have to do a jump animation to try and jump another. It would be super cool. I mean, it's miles away, but it's super cool idea, and I love it. I love the idea of it, and you know, cliffhanger, like hanging on with one hand kind of thing. That'll be the next. That's going to be at the next CitizenCon next year. There's going to be a guy hanging on with one hand with an addicted T-shirt on.
And then
going, yes, this is where it came. This is where the idea came from. Fantastic.
Hanging from the rock with one hand, right?
I love it. I'm going to go on to another scale thing, but I just wanted to move on to. I was going to just talk about the scale, because I noticed about the Pioneer. So we know that the land that you're going to buy is 4 kilometers, right? By 4 kilometers, is that correct? Claim
it
land
comes with you get that size claim with the Pioneer, I think. Yeah,
which is 1,000 acres. Now I put in a picture so people, if anyone's never been on Reddit and ever looked at it, you can actually see how big a Pioneer is versus the potential land that you're going to get when you buy a Pioneer. And Nerd, you have a Pioneer, don't you?
I do.
Yes. So you know all about the land, and this is the biggest criticism at the moment that I can see, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it, because this is, I always think there's no point hiding what people say and negative comments under the rug. You should talk about them. And one of the biggest things that people say is the Pioneer utterly pay to win within Star Citizen? I mean, I have my view on it, but I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it.
Because you know, to be honest, you're not going to be able to. And I've told this to my stream multiple times, but I'll say it again here for people who may not have heard it. When the game starts, you are not going to be able to run any big ship. You're going to run out of money. No NPC is ever going to give you a job that would pay for the operations. You're going to have to. So what is it that we build in this game that the NPCs, that's the one way we communicate with NPCs? It's reputation. So right now, if we were a carpenter or a house builder or something like that, would you be able to go to a person like, before he was president, Donald Trump, and say, hey, man, I'll build that skyscraper for you? He'd look at you and go, whatever, go away. I'm not talking to you. You got to build your reputation first to be able to talk to these people who would pay for a job that would employ a Pioneer, or a job that would employ a Orion, or any of these other bigger ships. Anybody who thinks they're going to be able to go day one, take their big ship out and go mining is an idiot. You're not going to be able to do it. You're just not. You can't. Okay. It's impossible.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Pretty much
Miss, what's your same thing?
It's the same. It's like, unless, well, I don't even. Did you say pay to win at the start? Or did
Yeah,
you
but
because
that's the biggest criticism. The
People keep
biggest
saying that
criticism
there is
people
no-
say is pay to
why
win,
did-
and that's
people keep
I get,
saying it.
I get
What are you winning?
confused.
What did you win?
Yeah. Yeah, that's thank you.
You
That's
won a
exactly
plot of
what I mean.
land. That's not winning because you paid for it anyway. Yeah, that's owning a piece of land on a planet or somewhere else is not going to give you anything.
Sol, your view on
like
this one?
what CIG
Sol?
Sherman said is that the win is a matter of such a subjective thing. Plus,
but there
there is no end game in Star Citizen, which is
my point.
great.
Yeah.
Like, what is the end game in life, right? What is
but
the end game? I mean, that's what Star Citizen in just 900 years in the future.
That was it. No, that's like literally when people come in. When I hear people say like it's pay to win, I'm like, well, I get that when there's an end in a game. Like if you've got an end result, if you've got an end number, and your character hits an end amount, and your character is improved exponentially by your financial investment in the game, way above other people, that's limiting other people. You can't do it. Like it takes years for somebody to get what you've done in like because you've got money and stuff. That's pay to win. But in this, there's no end. Like I could eventually afford a Pioneer if I want to, but I don't necessarily am interested in it. And like you said, it's like you're just buying. There's no end. There's no end to this game. There's no.
So I've been playing a lot of MMOs over the years, as most of you guys, know. And I think, why would player housing? Let's call it player housing for now, because we haven't seen the mechanics yet of what these outposts can make us money-wise. You know what I mean? So we don't know if these outposts are going to make more money than any other job in the game. Why would it? So having that Pioneer will be a good income for you, but running the Pioneer will come with a lot of expenditure as well. You need protection because you will be a flying target for everyone. You know what I mean? You need to get people to operate it. You need to get people planet side that take care of things for you. You need to get to your customers. All in all, you're going to invest a lot of money to maybe get some money back as well, but you're going to have to branch out into protection and that sort of things as well. So who knows? Maybe someone in an Aurora shooting people as a pirate will make more money than someone with a Pioneer. We don't know that yet.
It takes 4 people minimum to fly and use the Pioneer. It takes 8 people, from what I understand, to optimize.
Run it optimally,
which is actually quite a lot less than I thought. But then when you think about the game, I understand the numbers. I think it'll be interesting to see what the final number will be. It's not finalized yet. Everything can shift around. They could move things around as the game.
But who says it's going to make a lot of money operating the thing? Who knows?
It will eventually, but like I said, your reputation is an extremely important part of this game. And in order to get jobs, like in order to have the Shubin Mining Corporation trust you to build mining outposts for them, your reputation is going to have to be really high. That's going to be many, many months of gameplay under your belt, having done jobs for them, much smaller jobs for them, building your reputation with these guys until finally the Donald Trump of the Shubin Mining Corporation will talk to you about building outposts for them. But until that point, that you're not going to make money. I mean, it's a convenience to have already purchased it, but you still are going to have to go through the grind of getting that reputation in order for the NPCs to give you the job. Here's the thing: 90% of the population in the Star Citizen universe are NPCs. That means a lot of the work, most of the work we're going to be doing is for and against NPCs, not other players.
And even if you're going to build a player base, they're not going to be able to afford it off the bat. If you're going to try and charge a good amount of money, they're not going to be able to afford
and next to that, what is land going to be worth in a game like Final Fantasy, where you have 3,000 houses for 10,000 people? Land is worth a lot. For example, in games like Arcade, where the available plots are a lot less than the people that are on the server. For example, I don't know how it is nowadays, but if you look at 2 years back when Arcade was still a big thing, I think in the universe that we have, there's more than enough space for land anyway. So land will probably be worth a lot less. Than
how many acres? A little bit. Find out how many acres are on like the surface of Daymar, for example. Let's just I don't know what the diameter of Daymar, but let's just go and let's just for our purposes right now, the diameter of Daymar is 500 kilometers. Let's say that's it. I don't know what it is, but let's just say that's it so we can get a number. Then use that. You can go and find the formula on Google to find out the surface area on that, and then you can find out how many acres. Anyway, it's so much that if every citizen had a 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer plot, you wouldn't be able to fill up even half of Daymar.
No, we
all
said
the other
before.
plans that are coming out. You know what I mean? And then you have the difference in between UEE protected space, UEE protected planets,
Right?
Where you probably have to get reputation with UEE or a certain status before you can get land on those protected bits.
So this is my next. So this is my next question, though, because you very eloquently suggested the reasons why having one of these things is going to be it's going to be quite expensive potentially initially. Why did you buy one if you know all this stuff?
Well,
why not earn it in game as you've gone along? Why not earn it as by the time you get to the place you're going to be an org that's going to be doing this? Do you think you'll be able to get to that faster? Your organization, that's why you got it, because you'll be able to do it quickly, or do you think? I'm just wondering. Or did you just do it because you wanted to give Star Citizen $700 or $800 to continue the progress of the game?
Well, I mean, I used credits for it, but I eventually will be buying it with cash as well. I like supporting Star Citizen because I believe in the Chris Roberts vision for this game. I believe in that so much that I'm willing to put, my money where my mouth is. And so that's why I buy the ships that I do, not because I want to own them necessarily, but because I really do want to own. I mean, I do want to own some of these ships, but some of them I just want for my organization. But I also want to be able to have, the convenience of not having to, being able to have LTI. If I have a huge fleet, I want to be able to not have to worry about insurance for the base model of the ship that I purchased. Of course, I understand that eventually any upgrades will have to have additional insurance purchased for it. Yeah. But my point is that I have an organization that is building. I will have a lot of people in that organization in different ships and that kind of thing. I just look at it as a convenience more than I don't see it as pay to win. I see it as pay for convenience and pay for the development of the game, because I never look at any of these purchases as being a purchase of a ship. I look at it as being as paying for CIG Sherman's salary, or helping to pay for his health insurance, or that kind of thing. We're all paying for these guys to develop this game that we really, really want, and they all need to live and eat and that's what I'm paying for, right? If I get a ship in return, I'm happy too.
And I think also,
listen, I'll send you my bank account number. You can put some money in there. I need to live and eat as well, man.
Yeah, but what are you making that I want?
Yeah,
I'll make whatever you want for you. I'll dance for you. I'll do everything for you that you want.
Break dance for money. You need the t-shirt. I will do your emotes. And
your desperation is showing there. So
you need the t-shirt. Put it on your. You got a black hat there. You should start putting some stuff on there. Start printing.
I think
going back to the pay to win thing, I think there's also it's like people mention it, but they don't. No one can clearly go for what a win is in Star Citizen, because there's no such thing anyway. But on top of that, there's everybody's idea of what they're going to play is differently. Like, just because you've got a big ship that's very expensive, that doesn't make you in any way. It's not even pay to advance to a certain degree. I may just want to always fly an Aurora. I may just want to always be the little guy that carries a small cargo all day long. Why do you think that everybody has to be in the top ship? Or why does everybody have to be in the biggest ship? I actually don't want a massive ship, because I wouldn't want the responsibility of flying it to be the one that's controlling everything in it. I'd rather be a crew member on one. So it's just, people want different things. And I mean, Madness, you're happy in your dogfighting ship. You don't need
single player, single ship
Pioneer. That's not going to make your dogfighting any better. So I
have no interest in buying a Pioneer. The only big ship that there's only a couple of ships I'm interested in. Big ships I'm thinking about. One is the Carrack, and the other one is the Endeavour. Those are the only two, and I would say biggest ships.
But that's for your playstyle, man. It's because you either want to do farming, or what's it called?
And the other one is just exploration. Because I'm like the other 70% of the game. I want to go and look at amazing things, climb up rocks and and explore the universe that Star Citizen's created for me.
But
And
it's what I said earlier, and you
I might be able to do it in an Aquila. I might not need to get an Aquila. I don't know yet. But the idea, and this is why I was chatting to Nerd, and I was wanting to get, because this is the reality. It's like getting to the understanding of why people are buying these big ships. Is it, I think it does come down to the convenience factor of having things like the LTI token just to have on these big ships, because ultimately, and to back the game, we all want to support the game development. We believe in Star Citizen, we believe in Chris Roberts, we believe in this game development. We want to back it, and but we also would be wrong to be, and I don't think anyone should be ashamed of this, of wanting a little bit back and having the convenience of having an LTI token to protect our investment up front. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Again, that when I bought my first package and I started reading about all of the ships that they were selling, and at first I too was taken aback by such high prices, like a $15,000 completionist package. What the hell? But I read through it. I started to understand exactly every single dollar, whether it was a $35 starter package or a $15,000 completionist package. Every single dollar that is spent by us, the backers, was going to pay for the creation of this amazing vision that not Aaron Roberts, but that Chris Roberts has, right? And so what really stuck with me, and what I kind of like did as a mantra or whatever in my head, repeated over and over again, was that I'm backing a game. I'm paying for these people's living expenses and healthcare expenses and all this other stuff so that they can do what I can't. And I want this game as much as every single one of them out there, as much as Matt Sherman wants it, as much as Chris Roberts wants it. But I don't have the talent or the skill to do it. Otherwise, I'd have applied to work at CIG. So what I'm doing is what I can do to back the game. And if I get a reward of a ship or, other something other like that, or a plot of land or whatever, I'm willing, that's cool, but that's not why I spent the $750 on that. That's not why I spent that, because if that's all I wanted, I would buy a $45 game package and then wait for the game to come out and earn it all in game.
I think next to that, just to fill in what Uber says, I think, everyone spends his money with a certain reason, I think, as well. If I look for me personally, having the Banu Merchantman, I have a vision of what that ship can do in the verse, and I'm not necessarily going to use it exactly for what it's meant to be used for. Let's call it the meta, you know what I mean? I don't think there is a meta in the game either, Some people like certain ships and want to make sure that they have that ship with the LTI token beforehand, but for example, I love the idea of the Pioneer, but it's something that I want to get in game eventually. For me, I see those as points to work towards too, you know what I mean? Because and if I had the money, I would probably buy it now, but with me having less money, I need to think smart. Okay, what is the ship that I think that I can make a lot of money with in the game? And I'll get that beforehand. With that, I'll back the game as well at the same time, because that's what we're all here to do. We'll put the money in, and then we can work from there. I think that is a fair reason to do it as well. But as I said earlier, it's not about the size of the ship either, man. And that's not to make a joke or fun or laugh. It's what you do with it. You know what I mean? If you buy a big ship and you're not going to do anything with it, and you're using it for different purposes, then you're not going to make any money with it anyway. You know what I mean? If you see that the Pioneer for you is your home base where you're going to hang out all day, but you're not going to do the things that it can do.
This raises that raises an interesting thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's all right.
If you guys haven't checked out Robert Space Industries, they're putting on the Spectrum thing. They're doing a Q&A, so they want questions from people. And I've been looking at a lot of the questions that people have been posting, and the popular ones. And it is very interesting to see the number of people that ask this dumbass question, which I think is dumb. They all want to know what other things that the Pioneer can do, like as if the Pioneer should be this ship that can do so many different things and become this amazing ship that can do, like, it can be a fighter and this and pie. And I'm going there going, Do you guys really? That's your question. And it's going high, and these questions are getting high up in this bloody tick box. I'm going, who are the idiots on Spectrum thinking these bloody? This is a
That's
stupid
exactly what they are,
question.
idiots on Spectrum.
Who the f? This is a stupid. There's some great questions
Well,
further down, and I'm
come
like,
on,
what
you
the
know,
hell?
do you guys remember the
Why?
whole dust up about the Cutlass, right? Where it's supposed to be the ship that can do it all.
Oh,
And it just got to that point where when they found out it couldn't do it all, people got really, oh my God, I'm being ripped off. It can't do everything.
this is a part. It's
People
specific.
will learn eventually.
It's specific. It's as a specific task.
This,
That's
to me,
what it should do, in my view. I don't know,
In
but it should be what it says on the tin. It should be a colonized. And then if you want a variant version that does something else, then that's fine. You can have a variant
I'm
version
not
of it
even
that has
sure it'll do
modules.
its own job that well either.
that would
And
be
then it does
nice. A variant
you know?
that built space stations instead
Stations,
of
exactly,
you know.
exactly.
But so what I was thinking is, and I just thought of this as I was listening to you guys, and I thought, well, to me, it's not about the destination. So when people say pay to win, for me, it's about the journey.
Yeah,
Right?
this is what-
That's why I'm buying these ships, because I don't care about the destination necessarily. I care about the journey itself. So I know that I'm still going to have to go through and build my reputation to the point where I can actually start using that ship, right? Whether it is the Endeavor or the Pioneer or whatever, the Reclaimer or whatever big ship I have, I realize that there'll be a lot of play time in smaller ships, building my reputation with the NPCs in order to get the jobs that will pay for the operations of those large ships. So for me, it's the journey. I don't really care necessarily about the destination itself.
Definitely.
It's more of what I'm doing in between this point and that point.
And I've said that a lot about other MMOs. The same thing. It's people tried to get to the end game as such, and then they get there, and then it's like, well, now what? I've got there, and you do a couple of raids, and then you're bored. But the same way as you can say pre-order a game and get the elite weapon that you'll get to use at 50, but you've still got to get to 50. It doesn't just make you end level. So it's kind of in a similar principle to that. You can buy these end games. It will cut you a bit of grind down. It's definitely going to give you a bit of an advantage. But it's a personal advantage, because I think, like Steve the Geek said in Czech, and a few people have said, they can't have that much time to say grind for a big ship. So what it's doing is, yes, you'll still have to grind the reputation, but it means they don't necessarily have to earn all that credit as well to then go and buy the ship. Or some of these ships will be rarer, so some of these ships will take longer to. If you want to buy one, it might not be available. So
it's all in between the ears as well, miss. How much role play can you? For example, I still play Final Fantasy. I got my character on max level. How much of a completionist are you? How much of the things that are not necessarily end game do you want to get? Do I want to get all the costumes? Stupid examples. Do I want to get all the ships eventually? Do I want to get all these trophies? Do you want to get all these achievements? I think the end game is not necessarily, in some games it is, because it's very linear and it's very compact. But I think in an MMO of the size and what Chris Roberts has envisioned, there will be so much more to branch out to get as well, instead of there is no end game. I hope to a Star Citizen thing, because it's as much end game as you have in between your ears. I still play Final Fantasy. I want to get this and this and this achievement. I want to get this and this and that achievement. I want to get this costume. So there's always things to do. And next to that, you have a group of people where you socialize with in the game. And I think that is where it starts is getting really strong.
You're right, Sol. Where that social interaction is going to be one of those areas where you find yourself having this. It's those interactions that take you beyond or outside of that scripted gameplay. The problem a lot of people have is that they can't think outside of the theme park. You know what I'm saying? The theme park game has been the rule
into us
for the longest. There are no real sandbox games that have really flourished, right? Because people get lost in sandbox games, especially if it's
a niche.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be.
No,
right? The game should be able to be designed to a way where the theme park really is the lesser part of the game, and the sandbox is really where it's at, right? And I'm hoping that that's kind of what they're looking at with Star Citizen. Like, well, how can we make it? And that's where I think the subsumption also comes in. I'm hoping that the subsumption is able to play off of something that you do, Like if you go and you're blockading, this mining operation and you're going in there and stealing ore, that creates other missions. This is what they've talked about. That is sandbox. That's not theme park, right?
And
that is you know what I'm using?
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree. I think that's a lot of what people were part of to make a sandbox actually work is the interaction with other players. Because that's what's going to create your content. It's not following a path that's going to do it. It's literally bumping into people trying to rob you, people supporting you when you group up. Other games have had it to a degree when you meet up in public areas. If an NPC though
make a mission based on something that you did,
exactly.
Right? Like if you go and you start harassing these miners, NPC miners. Right, and then a mission that hires other players to come stop you is created because of you. That is like the NPCs are participating in the sandbox game, not just the theme park game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's what's been a big value with most theme park games at the moment. I think the only one that talked about doing it was EverQuest EverQuest Next. They talked about having subsumption NPCs, and it was exactly that. They're going to have day and night cycles. You'll be able to interrupt the NPCs. You'll be able to force them to do something else, which would then, like you said, if you cut a forest down, they'll say, well, you've just cut my forest down, and then they'll get people to get you. But it never materialized. The game fouled. And so this is a huge thing for Star Citizen, which I think some people appreciate and some don't. This subsumption that they're working on it's unbelievable. Having a bartender that's going to go to bed at the end of the night and then come up in the morning and, like you said, maybe give you a mission because he looks at you and thinks, oh, this bloke I can trust. I need, or one day he's working his bar and all of a sudden he's run out of drink. Like he wouldn't, if he's physically using drink and then goes, oh shit, I've got no drink. Oh, are you a trader? Okay, can you?
It comes down to reputation as well.
Here's the thing. This is why that bartender, that NPC bartender, runs out of booze because Little Bit of Madness hijacked his shipment and is selling it to somebody else in another system. Then that bartender hires you, Miz, to go and get a new shipment. He doesn't even hire you to deal with Little Bit because that's already happened, right? Or something like that,
what it is,
the
guys.
law or whatever.
I think a lot of games have this.
The law's already killed me.
I think a lot of games have this, Uber, but it's all player driven. And if you're not in that mindset of that player driven content, so to say, the subsumption will really help the people that have that a bit less and that need a bit of guidance by the game itself. It will create
which
that
games
a lot better.
have this, Sol?
Well, this
Final Fantasy, Black Desert, Arc Age, but those games have all very niche player bases.
No, they don't. None of them have that. What I'm saying is that
player driven. You guys are not listening. Player driven. So player driven. There's a lot of things that are player driven that necessarily are for a very niche type of people that like this role play type of idea. You know what I mean? Guild versus guild.
I think like what Urban Nerds is saying is that it with the interaction of the NPCs doing the subsumption, it then it loses the player-driven aspect to a certain degree.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say is that the NPCs will generate missions based on the actions of players, right? So like I was saying, if Little Bit of Madness hijacks a booze shipment and goes to another system and sells that booze shipment, he makes money. Then the bartender who was expecting that booze shipment wherever he's at has to hire one of us. They put up a job and a player can then take that job to go and get more booze for him because he's got to have his establishment run. So he does
two things. He puts up a bounty on me, and then he puts up one for somebody to come and get more booze.
I think that is a great thing though, because you don't see that in all the older games because it's all what I said, it's player driven. So it's great to see that Star Citizen tries to insert such a thing to make that more accessible for all types of people, not necessarily the people that like to play these niche games.
Here's my thing. Why can't NPCs pick up the missions?
They might.
No, but they've already said that they will. If a player doesn't pick it up in time, that the NPCs will end up doing it, right?
Well, so you could,
because you can't have the bartender just be out of stock constantly. No. So he might turn around and say, "Well, I'm doing no stock." So someone may well come and get the
nobody
job.
picks it, whoever picks it up first, NPC or player, that's who does the mission, right?
Okay,
so it's not gonna.
You could have, in theory, lots of people taking the same task at the same time, trying to complete it before other people, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
This is going to be my other thing. Is do you think that with NPCs and the way that they're building pioneers and hiring NPCs, it could get a little bit SimCity-esque in the sense that you kind of, could end up becoming a manager of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of NPCs, right? Or is it going to be a
I don't
limit
think
of
so,
NPCs?
because you have to. What they've said is you have to be on the ship with them. They pretty much run them. You know, they have skills. They can do the
focuses
stuff
you
on
then.
their own. You don't have to do anything other than make sure they can get paid. And you might choose to buy like the things that you do have to manage. Like if your NPCs are high quality, they may expect better food, right? They may expect more time off. And if you don't give them those things, if you try to cheap out, then if somebody else puts up a bid or, you know, some sort of looking to hire these people, promise to give this, they may leave your ship and go to somebody else. Remember, you don't control the NPCs.
That's
ships.
AI. Yeah,
It's
that's
not like
no, that's ships, and I understand. I completely understand. But what about with base building and say, for example, building a farm or you know, building a 4K community?
if you
where you've
build
got
a community,
to generate
what I
money.
was thinking is that if you build a community, you're going to be moving into that. If you build something that is NPCs are going to use, it's going to be like you're building a mining outpost for Shubin. Shubin will then populate that. You don't have anything to do with that. The NPCs will end up working there, but that's because they're employees of Shubin. You build something for Rayari, and then Rayari employees will work there. I don't think that we're going to be able to hire employees, leave them on a base, and then fly away, right? I don't think it's going to work that way. Now, it may be that they move, you know, you build stuff. I don't know how they would work that, but as far as I can understand, I think that's how they're going to do it. But
yeah, I was just curious. I was curious about it. I was just thinking about it because I was thinking we're going to have all NPCs, and if we can build bases, and some people just like to be solo players, but they want to generate revenue for themselves. And if you're just only able to have NPCs basically doing what you're doing when you're doing stuff, like on ships and stuff, it's like, well, then what's the point of building a base and having people running it and making money farming?
But some
or
people like that
mining?
though. Some people like a management type of role. That's what you want to do. I want to just own loads of buildings and own it. Is that wrong? Is that just a
No.
gameplay?
It's not wrong. I'm just curious in terms of if Nerd was saying is you can only do it when the people are with you. Do you know what I mean? So if I built a base and I want that to generate money whilst I'm going to fly in my spaceship, they're not making any money.
I don't think they've actually confirmed yet, have they? Whether
they haven't talked about
to get
that.
that.
Now,
I mean, bases are a newer thing because obviously we were going to have ships, and they would need to be on the ship while you're flying it. You wouldn't be able to technically say hire a pilot, a gunner, and everything else, and then let them fly your ship somewhere. I mean, maybe
no, they've already said that's not going to be a thing, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, but outposts and mining facilities is a different thing. So they may just choose not. That might be something that they will have to discuss.
They may say that they will continue to work and sleep and live, but you've got to be attentive to them. Like continue, like you have to be there all the time. You can leave and fly to another planet to get supplies and come back as long as that's what you're doing. But you can't just go off to some other solar system and be dinking around over there, dogfighting, and not come back for weeks or whatever. That won't work, right? You have to be attentive to that kind of like. So if you go off in one of your ships to go get supplies for your base, then I think that maybe like what you're saying a little bit, you could have miners or people working in there as long as you don't change your route. Because if you leave for too long, maybe they'd get ticked off, or maybe that, I mean, who knows?
What I was saying is just what I was saying. That was my point right back at the beginning. Is there a risk if they were to follow that road that it starts to become a bit of a SimCity management kind of game?
What I'm saying, it's up to you.
And I don't know, and that's what you were going to say. It was like, well, that's not necessarily is that a bad thing? I'm like, well, probably not. I kind of like the idea of kind of that kind of management and stuff, and the idea of it'll add a layer of complication. So you could be on a mission exploring, you get a message to say, hey, Frank, the senior overly manager at my base, has broke his hand or is decided that he wants to leave and has been offered more money to go work for somebody else. You need to then look at resume of other people.
I think that what they want, guys, is they want us to, like, if we're going to do something like that, they would probably have like an HR person that would take care of all that. And the only thing that you would know is not why the person is leaving, but hey, here are 4 people. We need to hire one. Which one do you want to hire? Right. Yeah. And that would be the only thing you would ever do. You're not going to, and you might be able to choose stuff like, okay, I'm gonna spend more money and get better food for these guys. I'm gonna have more entertainment, like a better selection of movies or something, whatever it is that they really like. Or I'll spend a lot of money and I'll get a what do you call it? one of those little seats that you have where you can play Star Marine or Arena Commander, because that's an in-game game, right?
Yeah,
so a sim pod. So yeah, I'll spend the extra money and get a sim pod, and I'll get a lot of extra games for that sim pod and make my employees happy, right? But other than doing those things, you're not going to go in there and say, okay, now Jim has to go poo. Samantha, she has to go cook food, or
they've got that. EA's got that. It's called Sims,
right? And that's what they said. We're not going to have to do that kind of. It's not going to be Sim Citizen, but there is going to still be. You got to buy the right kind of food to make sure that they are happy, right? So you're not going to tell them to go do that.
Is it only me, or is Uber's audio going up and down?
It goes up and down.
Okay.
I think it goes
It's
up and down a
probably
little bit.
my audio, guys.
Sorry.
We've had this problem before on Zoom. For some reason, Microsoft is thinking like adjusting audio automatically. I don't know why.
What? Really?
Yeah,
Is
is it to do with that? I'm letting it take full
minutes.
control or something, because we had that issue before when you go into your
I
microphone
had that issue
settings.
before, yeah.
Yeah, you can go into your settings and there's something under Windows and it says if security or something, you can stop it taking or making it take full control of the microphone or something.
Yeah. So. I know. I thought maybe it was just if you were leaning away from the microphone, as I do.
No, I don't think it's that, because sometimes it doesn't move and it goes up and down, but it's not too bad most.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have full control, so I don't know what's going on with it. It's just messed up.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just
maybe
carry
Zoom
on.
needs full control though, because that's the thing.
Maybe.
So that it keeps the.
It might be that Zoom needs full control. I don't know.
Full control.
Give me all your
So,
control. Or not Zoom, it's Discord, but yeah.
So here's a thing. So on the Google Doc on Reddit, I saw this wonderful picture where they talked about a rescue mission, because we were talking about missions and other things, and this person had done like a really cool kind of frozen mission and stuff, and I was kind of curious on like expeditions and stuff and in kind of rescue missions. Is anybody interested in being in rescuing? Is that like a kind of a mission where people be like, yeah, I'm up for that, that sounds cool? Or do you think, because we're going to have the medical profession with the Cutlass Red, and they're going to be medical bots and stuff, and do you think that will all be tied in? Will there be like like a rescue team, there'll be NPC rescuers, and because you could get stranded, the people are going to get stranded, it's going to be a thing, your ship might crash, your Nox might crash, and or your rover might break down, you can't repair it and stuff.
There are a lot of people who want to get in on rescue missions,
do we know when that could potentially be a thing?
I would rescue anyone.
3.2, 3.3,
Well,
3.4.
it depends what mechanic would be involved in an actual rescue mission. I mean, if it's just because it's a bit like bounty hunting. If you just get someone, take them to your ship. I mean, until what you define as a rescue. If someone's stranded and you just pick them up and drop them off at Olisar or something like that, that could be in at 3.0 technically.
So how could you we already do? We can already do rescue missions right now. Right. Yeah. That's something that if your ship gets blown up while you're out at a mission or whatever, you're out clicking on the thing and then somebody shoots your dang thing and you're like, dang it, now I'm stranded out at mission number 3 or whatever. You just call one of your friends, they come out to mission number 3, they fight off the pirates, and then they pick you up, right? Okay. So there's a rescue mission that already exists in the game.
So how could you?
But that's the issue that we're having at the moment, boys. That's the issue that we're having at the moment. People are not creative enough, or don't want to say that. Let's phrase it differently. Not everyone thinks that way, of the role play kind of way, because I can just press a button, I'll respawn at Olisar. No, if you think more role play, and that's what I tried to explain earlier, if you think more role play, you create that content yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, but if you think about this,
matters.
Right, exactly. Death right now does not matter. So because death has no fangs, no teeth, it's not, until death has teeth, it is not going to be a thing. If you don't make death really something to avoid, then rescue will never be a thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to rescue me. Anyone sees my handle and they know my handle, I'm going to have to change my handle when we go to the live. When death matters, my handle will be changed into something completely completely different, so that when I'm desperately in need,
completely safe magical pony. That'll be his new handle, completely
Sparkling.
safe, magical rainbow pony
With
so.
sprinkles.
Come and get me,
With sprinkles,
please.
with
Fluffy,
glitter.
fluffy sprinkles is desperately needing picking up from somewhere. Everyone would be like, "Oh, we just rescued Fluffy. You do know who you just rescued?" It'd be like, "No, you just rescued that bastard. That's all he's
Fluffy
killing everyone."
Sprinkles was so nice. No, he just blew up our convoy. Oh.
But that's. I mean, I love the idea of using rescues missions and turning that into traps.
I
That's
think
what-
rescues
Yes,
is going to
that's
be a
an
huge thing.
awesome idea.
I mean,
Turning them
there's
into traps.
a big issue with, say, like the multi-crew ship thing that someone brought up on the stream before is that if you go out as a multi-crew and I don't know, say you've got an Ursa rover and you land and there's a few of you, some of you drive off and then someone decides that they want to stay on the planet and then the rest of your crew take off while you're in an outpost or whatever, you're then stuck there. There's no way to get your ships because your ships don't belong there. You're literally just stuck on a planet until you get rescued or somehow get. How do you get away from that? You know,
You call. So there is going to be a way. Like if you're at an outpost, right? Well, there's a radio there, so you just call somebody. You get onto the communication system in there. If somebody strands you there on purpose, then you maybe have to hack into the computer system at the outpost, and then utilize their radio system to call for help.
but I can see people getting stranded a lot. Like even not by on purpose. Like if you
Yeah,
guys
just
are multi-crew and
accidents.
you have to log out. Oh god, shit! I gotta go for dinner. Right? You log out in the freaking outpost. You're then stuck there, and the next time you come back in, it's gonna happen a lot.
We know that some of those outposts are going to have landing pads, so maybe you're going to have to take a long trek from one that doesn't have a landing pad to one that does. You know, I mean,
But your
it's going
ship
to be.
is not going to be on that planet, though, is it? Or will they
Well,
just let you have it?
Maybe
well,
you rent
no,
rent
if-
rent stuff.
what if
like
you've-
rent
Rent
a
one,
scooter,
yeah.
They
rent
could
a
be
bike,
rented. But
rent
here's
a
the thing.
bike. and-
What
You have
if?
money.
What if you've never called? Because didn't they say that the first place you spawn the ship, that's where you go, and then wherever you fly it to, that's where it's at, right?
Yeah.
So it may be that they set up a taxi service for NPCs and players, right? I mean, the Genesis Starliner is eventually coming in. It would be nice to be able to see if there is a way for you to call for help. I mean, if you don't know anybody in the game, I mean, in 3.0, we're not getting our own beacons, right?
We're gonna
But-
get beacons eventually.
Yeah,
We got our own bacon, though.
They said we will get beacons eventually. We'll get
our own
bacon. We're gonna get little bits of bacon. Oh, no,
Bacon.
bacon. But we will get beacons, and we are going to get this stuff. I'm sure. It was just an interesting
It's not
topic
just
of
that,
conversation.
it's an interesting chat in terms of not even that. Like you put a beacon down, then someone's got to rescue you, which means you could be there for ages if no one picks the mission up. Now, yeah,
Quite
I think
boring.
as Urban Nerd said, that may well be the solution, that you call your ship, even if it's on another planet, and it'll have to be delivered. So you're still going to have an element of wait because you chose to go. Because don't forget, this is all going to be like, this is what's making the game difficult, in my opinion, to kind of balance, because you want people to multi-crew, and I want a multi-crew, lots of people want a multi-crew, but there's lots of downsides to it as well. And like, yeah, if you stuck and you need to get your ship, this can happen to a lot of people. There's loads of times you have to log off at any time or whatever, and if your crew's not going to hang around for you to come back, or if you're on a long exploration, you might be miles away from your ship anyway. So yeah, potentially calling your ship and getting it delivered. But
You've actually raised a really interesting point. Okay, I'm on Mrs. ship. Okay, let's say, Nerd, you're Pioneer, right? We've all jumped on your Pioneer. We take off. We go off on a big trek to colonize a place. My missus says to me, in my ear, you've been playing it all day. You need to get off. It's dinner time, whatever. 2 hours into the flight, unexpected, whatever, or something's happened. Terrible disaster. Something has happened. Sorry, guys, I have to go. I log out. When I re-log in again, what am I logging into? Am I logging in back to when I first started, or am I logging into
think
your
being
ship
on a ship
where you
is
finish?
not such an issue. If you log out in the bed on that ship, you will log back in on the bed in that ship.
Yep.
In that ship.
So
So,
that's
and technically,
not-
when they arrive at the destination,
Yeah,
I
you'll be
will
there.
be
Yes.
there.
You will be there.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
So
if
that's
we were on
not
a
bad.
planet,
Here's the
and I
thing
had to leave.
Right, and here's the thing about that. I think what they have said about that in the past, I'm like, well, what if somebody's doesn't log back on for a long time? Well, what they said is, once you get to a port that has like the habs, right, those little habs, you could then,
Pick them
as
out.
the captain of the ship, choose a bed. You'll have maybe some way to choose the bed and say, put them on the base if they
Yeah.
don't, if they're not ever logging
Like a
back
ship
on to clear
management
up that
roster
bed,
type
right?
thing.
Yeah, some way to manage your ship.
Listen,
So you
people
don't-
logging out on my ship would be a problem if I'm having one of these bunga bunga parties.
Put them on the
and,
ejectors.
and someone logs in and I'm having my little toss there and Madness walks in. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be
You're going to be
good.
putting me on the ejector pod, aren't you? So you'll be like, oh, he's logged out. We'll put him on that bed. The bed that gets ejected. Open the
No.
bed.
I have a great idea for
Dive
that. So you know how the logistics of the Bano merchantmen work, Leah. They're basically like containers hanging underneath the ship. You're gonna go in one of those containers, and we're gonna release the button.
Right. Thank you. You're such a.
I'll put some.
I'm so glad he's staying with the podcast.
I'll put you into an escape pod with R2D2 and C3PO.
Yeah, exactly. Start shooting. Pretend to shoot with lasers.
You'll wake up and go, what? What the?
I'll always just on that. I'd always remember when Seth MacFarlane did the Family Guy episode when the guys were standing there with the lasers when the escape pod goes and they go, yeah, just let that one go. And the guy's like, what? We paying by the laser here? I love that bit. That was one of my favorite.
Imagine me having fun with my pineapple and you walk in. You know what I mean?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh Jesus!
Right.
Okay, so
you have a
moving
thing
on.
for pineapple, don't you? It's like,
I love pineapple.
do you like that song? You know, it's a pineapple. Here's a pen.
Pineapple pen? No, I don't like it. I hate it, to be honest.
Did
Nerd.
you dress up like
Oh.
that with that cheesy leopard print suit and stuff like that?
He probably does.
I want to see you
Pineapple.
dress up like that. You know?
I was at the shop earlier to pick up some cranberry juice, and I saw the pineapples, and I was like, maybe I just need to bring one home and just sit all day with the pineapple on my.
You should do. You should do.
No, I cannot.
You should do. I was just going to say, just as we're talking about ships and stuff, and we always like to talk about ships, but the Carrack starts production today, by the way.
According to the schedule,
Really?
it's not going to start production today. I think they
It's in
already started working.
It's in production. The
Well, that's
production.
the problem
When
that
they
we're
was
having.
creating the WoW that they was already in production, or they were starting work
Yeah.
on the production of it. So
It's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't follow that schedule even.
No, I just love it because Reddit they say starts production, and I always get really excited. I kind of go like I'm just getting excited as if we're about to see loads and loads of images, and then I'm like, well, not
But
yet.
this is the issue,
it's
man,
white
is that the
boxing.
Star
I get all
Citizen
excited.
community has at the moment. Everyone and Reddit blows that up. Yeah, and this is just an opinion. Yeah, so you have these people that follow.
Blow it
this-
out. Take it out.
No, that's
Blow it
fine.
out.
But you have these people that follow the schedule as if it's holy, as if it's the truth, but it's not. Don't follow that damn schedule because it's never according to the damn schedule anyway. It might be a rough guideline, but it's not an exact date. You're on mute again. You're on mute again. Mute.
The problem is that everybody who's reading the schedule has never done project management.
No.
pretty much.
You should never follow the schedule. It's just a rough guideline of around and about.
It's what they
where
want to be working on at certain points
Exactly.
in time, basically. But they mentioned when they were. So this was come up in Discord, and someone was saying about it, and Jared said at the end of the happy hour where they were creating the WoW, they said the Carrack has gone into production. Or I can't remember. I think it was those words, or it's
It's a
been
while back,
worked
2
on.
weeks ago or something.
So that was like a couple of weeks ago. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It just for most people, it's like when they think of a schedule and it says, "Hey, we want to have this done by this time," they're thinking, "Oh, look, I could build a porch, get the wood, get the nails, put it together. It'll be done by that time." Well, yeah. That's exactly how that kind of schedule works. However, this is software, and you have no idea how long one bug might take to solve or find, for that matter. I mean, it could be that your schedule to get this one thing done could be, 6 weeks, but it takes you 16 weeks just to find the damn bug stopping you from being able to close this item or that,
And
So
fixing the bug creates another bug. That's how it normally goes as well. So we fix the
that's
bug
what I'm
and then
saying,
create
is that-
another bug.
But this is the thing: this is the understanding that I think everyone has to kind of. This is where I work not in software; I work in shoes. But the truth of the matter is, there are similarities in all business. The truth is, the customer doesn't give a fuck about all the crap that goes on in the background. They just want the product at the
The
end.
end result.
And that's the truth. And it's the same with anything that's ever made or anything that's ever product.
But
Exactly.
that's
Nobody cares.
But that is kind of what's difficult with what's happening now, and this with this game and what it's doing and how it's being open, so open from so early. And this is why people are getting so angry about delays when they're not actually delays. It's just part of production, and it's because we're not used to having a game and seeing it from so early on, like literally so early on. And then, so some of us are interested in the mechanics and the working of us, but most of them that do see the game actually do just want something to play. That is true, and that's what people come and see. You get the hardcore ones that want to see everything. They want to see how it's upgrading, but it's just a whole new thing, really.
So I think that there's also in project management, there are some terminology that I think a lot of people, when they talk about that we are.
Did you say product management and lots of phrases?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of terminology.
I love terminology. That was it. Project management terminology. They love their terminology.
But so think about this. Like, so I see somebody here that says not customers, shareholders. I've heard a lot of Star Citizens talk about themselves as shareholders. You're not a shareholder.
No.
You're a stakeholder. That's it. Not a shareholder.
I don't get any payout at the end of the day when someone else is buying it. Don't give me any money.
Is different than shareholder, as in we all have a stake in this. We all have an outcome we want. But you're not a shareholder. You are a stakeholder in just that. We're a part of this. We're participating in it. We're kind of investing for future fun. But that's about it, guys. You're not getting a payback.
At no point when you gave that money over did it say you have a certain amount of say in the project's way going forward. It doesn't say that anyway.
I think
You're not
we
signing
must
a
be
contract
glad as a community how much we have to say in this project, because
exactly
these
guys
people
seem
to think they got right.
Awesome in how much they listen to the community.
Any other game they tell you to piss
off. I think because them being that open and listening to us has maybe given the impression, and that's what you get. That's human, Uber. You know what I mean? You give them a finger, they take the whole damn hand. You know what I mean? So yeah. No, I get it, and I understand, Bent. I was just wanting to clarify that because I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, because those two words, they really have a distinctly different meaning. Do you know what I'm saying?
I like it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, yes, get in conversations with challenging the chatters. I like that. That's good stuff. Right, we had the ship matrix. Nerd, have you seen the ship matrix? Have you seen anything that's excited you with the ship matrix? Anything that's confused you? At the moment, I had a new person, never played the game before. They came in. I watched their stream. Within 10 minutes, they didn't know what the fuck was going on. They didn't know where to spawn their ship. They didn't understand the green. They were like in the hangar going. They went into the hangar and was like, "Where's the hangar?" They had bought the 2017 CitizenCon Aurora, which was 15 quid. That gave them the Aurora and the Arena Commander package only. It was the worst. Someone had given them advice who played the game, supposedly said, "Buy this package." It's not a package. It's 15 quid. You got nothing good in the game other than Arena Commander and the ship to look at. I was like, you ain't experiencing nothing. All you're going to experience.
Wait, that's a package you can buy?
Yeah, it was exclusive deal. It was like a deal
to do with CitizenCon. Was it?
They bought the ship only, but it was part of a package for CitizenCon.
No.
$20.
It wasn't a package for CitizenCon. There's an offer saying New Beginnings, and you add that as a discount code to a starter package. It probably worked on the Aurora MR. It works on the Aurora MR only. It doesn't work on the Mustang, I think. It just works on the Aurora MR.
It's just for the
but it's the MR
Aurora
starter package they should have bought. But probably what's happened is it's actually allowed you to use it on the standalone MR as well.
So they that bought that it right there.
Yeah,
so
by mistake.
So there you go. So this person's bought this package without, and again, it's just, and then they're sat there going, I don't know what I'm doing. They're getting frustrated. It's a streamer. He's got 4,000 followers. It's a pretty, he's a well-known good streamer. He's got this list of games that he's all excited about playing, and Star Citizen is one of them. And he's showing the experience that he's having with Star Citizen. And let's just put it this way: it was shit. I watched him for 20. I had to wade into this chat channel, like trying to help him, like every step of the way. You go into the hangar. There's the green thing on the floor. He's like walking all around the hangar for like 20 minutes trying to figure out where it is. It's the green dot. He's like, "Where's my ship? Where's my ship? I don't know where my ship is." You click on the green. Oh, and then he's like, "Da da da." Oh, and it's like light bulb moments all the time. And I was like, "Oh my god, I've given them everything that they need. This hint system that they're building for 3.0. Do you know what I mean? It's like they need this hint system
well,
more than anything.
My viewers will attest that I am doing this almost every day without fail, going into my hangar. I do it a lot. I'll go in and get a ship out in, and I'll say, this is the hangar. You can't fly out. I mean, it's to the point where I think a lot of my long-term viewers, that if I wasn't being a goofball and doing, voices and just having a conversation and theory crafting at the same time, they might not stick around because it's a lot of repetition that I do,
Yeah. But it's just I couldn't get over it. It was like I said to the guy in the channel, I said, do you mind? I would like to keep the VOD of your experience for Star Citizen. I almost want to package it and send it to Star Citizen because I almost feel like
because they're aware that there's no tutorial, they're aware that it's not good. This is why they're doing the hint system, and they said it's something that's got to work on. But at the end of the day, although they want people to buy the game, they're also not that worried about the user experience to a degree. It's not great, but they're not. They're just trying to make the game at the moment.
Yeah, I agree there, Miz. I think that the issue is the user experience is not really important in terms of the brand new user. It's getting to be more. That's why they're doing the hint system for 3.0, because they know 3.0 is going to absolutely explode the new user base, right?
But this come back to me putting the shit.
It's unfortunate that it's taken them so long after CitizenCon, because that we're getting literally thousands, tens of thousands of new. I've seen tons of Auroras now.
I'm literally, that's all I'm blowing up at the moment. It's just embarrassingly boring. It's like I'm literally, another Aurora, boom, another Aurora, boom, another Aurora. And I'm getting so lazy.
Every time you do that, as a new player says, "Fuck this game." This.
Asshole.
I'm not playing this anymore.
Asshole. I literally get.
So you're probably causing more problem than the lack of a tutorial at the moment.
That could be true. That could be possibly true. But I'm like, well,
board backers like yourself are causing more trouble.
I'm getting paid by Chris Roberts 250 AUEC to blow your Aurora up. So hey, blame Chris Roberts. But I just genuinely, I'm like, the Matrix has come into play now recently. I don't know how accurate it is. I've been reading through some of it. It still seems pretty disjointed and fractured. I kind of sometimes wish they would just put up a great big, take the whole web page down and just start again.
Put a basic thing up for now.
Just put a load and say, guess what, guys? Rework coming in a week's time. This will be here. And I'm like,
But the only thing that confounded me on the ship Matrix was the cargo space in the Starfarer. I'm like, are you kidding me? That there's nowhere near that. There can't be 3,600.
Haven't they said something wrong already? It's like So that's why I haven't jumped on looking at it, because it's like I think they've already said, this ain't right, and this. It's like some people just said
there's some stuff that's not right. Either missing or just not correct. Like they've added a 2 to something, or you know what I mean?
Extra 0 on the end. It's like it's not.
Yeah. So I know that the Starfarer cargo space isn't correct. But I don't know exactly what it should be. I think they just added an extra 2 or 3 into it.
Here's the question. This is what I was. The good thing is this just shows me how quickly they can amend these mistakes. So if the mistakes come in saying it's wrong, and they've said, hey, guess what, guys, it's wrong, and it doesn't get changed for about 6 months, they're still just as crap in terms of the ability to update their supposedly improved pipeline for improvements for the web page.
Yes, it should.
It should be fixed. If they're saying, because they're saying
that's their plan forward.
They're saying to us they've improved their pipeline. It's more efficient. We're going to be able to improve it. I mean, we'll wait and see. I'm not, I'm being a little bit harsh, but I'm just like, it can't happen. I think to improve the overall experience for new players, I'm excited to see the hint system in 3.0 and to see how good it is. I'm sure it's improved. But it was just something I literally experienced for the first time in a long time, because I haven't seen that many new backers, but obviously with 3.0, with CitizenCon 3.0, we still get new people in, and it's good. It's refreshing because I know all the nuances and all the ways to get around stuff. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for over a year. I've learned them all, so it doesn't bother me so much. I know all the quirky, stupid things that CIG do and all the mistakes and stuff. But for new people, they have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've
No
done like
idea.
a tutorial series earlier on, then I did a second one, and then they changed stuff. They keep changing the bloody keyboard layouts. And when we thought 3.0 was near, I thought, well, I'll wait for that. Then it's like, oh no, shit, it's not near now. But it definitely, I mean, we all know that there needs to be a better user experience for new players, definitely. Hopefully the hint system will help a bit. Because I mean, my dad's a good example. He played, and he got in the ship in the hangar, and then he couldn't get out the seat again. Because there's nowhere does it tell you that you have to hold F down to get out rather than just press it. And so he sat there and he rang me up and then he goes, look, I've been sitting in my ship for 10 minutes trying to get out of the seat. And it's like, come on. It's stupid. It really
It's
is.
so...
And I've seen comments on Facebook, people going, oh, it's just really hard to get into. And it's once you know those basics, it's easy. But there's nothing that throws those basics up in your face to start off with.
I just, do you know what makes me chuckle is I think of some of the gamers that stream these games. I think of the Twerks and the Sources and these guys, and they have a natural personal interest in these games. But when I watch them play other games, their patience is like this thin for some of these games. Like if it's not does this immediately, I'm using some names here, but generally some of the big and their patience is very thin when they play these other games. It's like, oh, and they get very, very critical about it. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. You've been really patient with a game that's probably got one of the worst web pages, one of the worst user interfaces, one of the worst kind of like ways of getting you into a game. Most people would be turned off by it. And then they don't. And I just find that it always makes me kind of amusing. Like it's the same for me. It's like I'm willing to accept so many fuck ups from CIG. In this game.
I'm almost the opposite now. I play other games and I accept bad stuff.
Oh, really? Much. Okay, yeah, that's true.
I'm the opposite because I was so used to Star Citizen and things that work, and you think, oh, and then you realise, hang on, no, this isn't an alpha, is it? This game's been released.
That's true.
And you're
I mean, I play like a lot of people got really ticked off about No Man's Sky, but I have played it since the beginning, and I don't, I have no problem with it. I was like, it's a lot of fun, I mean. It can get old after a while, but actually I've always liked that type of survival game. I've always had this kind of affinity for that kind of thing. So for me, having to go out there, survive, and watch my, as the the food or the oxygen, like to make sure that I got to get back to my ship and I got to get my energy back up and get back out there. So I actually had fun with that. I did stream it this last summer. A little bit when the new patch came out, so that was a lot of fun.
Do you know you just lost your
part? It wasn't so much that whether it was fun or not to play. I think most people were just aggrieved with the fact that it said it was going to have a lot of things in it, and it didn't. And it's one thing saying that when it's an alpha, it's another thing when it's supposed to be out there when it's released. And I think that's what most people, not necessarily the gameplay, and people didn't get past that. Then it was just like, it hasn't got this and it hasn't got this. Fuck it, refund. That's what happened. I think mostly.
Yeah, some lessons learned. I think,
but to be honest, I think that's fair though, because I do honestly think it's not. I'm not saying you shouldn't go back and play the game now if it's added the stuff that it wants and you get a decent price for it. But I do think there is an element that sometimes these games companies get away with telling you they're going to put stuff, then they don't, and the only way to vote is by not buying the game or get your refund, get that money back, because they should not have sold you that game.
They did deserve to get a lot of heat for what they did, and they deserved all of the refunds.
Sony should have got a good chunk of that heat as well. To be fair,
but that I think as well. That it was unfortunate that Sean Murray went out and said the things he did. He never. Well, yeah, but he was saying,
but Chris Roberts is guilty of coming out and saying, guess what, guys?
His game's not released.
3.0 is going to be out in
so it doesn't matter.
People that build games, they're excited about it.
It doesn't matter what Chris Roberts has said, because what Miserable's saying is true. This game isn't released. What Sean Murray said, it doesn't matter what he said up until the game was released, right? But once it's released, if the stuff that he promised was going to be in the game is not, if they had waited one more year, they might have had a lot of stuff in the game.
But then you got Sony pressing the buttons on the money.
That's why we don't want a publisher being pulling the strings for Star Citizen. If a publisher was pulling the strings for Star Citizen, we'd have had some crappy released product, a couple of years ago that wouldn't have been anything that what we wanted, and everybody would have bitched and moaned and complained, just like they did for look at Mass Effect Andromeda. Oh my God, what a train wreck that was! And even after they fixed it, it wasn't good enough because they fixed it way too late. They fixed it after they released it to the public, And
I
months
agree.
after, not even just weeks, but months after. It took them a long time, and it killed it so bad that they're no longer going to make any Mass Effect Andromeda or any Mass Effect. You know,
I mean, could you imagine like a publisher trying to do Star Citizen? Like, if it wasn't us, like imagine like they've been building and building and building. Like, you know, I don't know. The interference and the nightmare that they would have there, Star Citizen would be disaster by now. I think, in my opinion, would be falling apart all over the place. So I'm glad we've got it. We keep a hold of it.
No, there was no promise made by No Man's Sky, but what he did say was like, would you ever be able to multiplayer with you'll be able to do multiplayer and stuff. He didn't say you couldn't see the other people, right? And there was no absolute interaction or multiplayer capabilities because there's no seeing anybody else.
There's
so
multiplayer
there is
little
now,
orb.
although you're a little orb, right? So, still not quite there. But
I still think he didn't say the words promise, but he still said it was going to be in there. He still said it was going to be there, and it was not just that. It wasn't just multiplayer. There was lots of things he said, and he did multiple interviews. And like I know Sherman says the office may have flooded. Well, then you have to put back your release, don't you? You know, if they're being published as well, you can't just.
Don't get me wrong. I like No Man's Sky. I still play. I still
That's
do.
what I'm saying.
And,
I bought it twice just to show how much I actually like No Man's Sky. I bought it twice.
You were right.
And I bought it on
it's
the
fun. It's fun. I still play it. It's still fun. So I think that the problem was that it was the publisher saying, you got to do this now. You got to do this now. And what Sean Murray was saying before the release date, right? Before it was announced, this is the release date. What he was saying was probably true. So he wasn't lying, right?
No.
The problem is that it was the publisher that made.
Yeah,
Sean
they then
Murray
said
a
release
liar.
it next week, and it's like, oh shit, okay, well it's not going to have any of that stuff I just said it was going to be in there. It will eventually, but not at the date that you're now saying. So,
yeah. So it was the publisher that made him a liar, and unfortunately, nobody, like he had to go. I mean, he was a rock in a hard place,
Yeah.
My heart goes out to that guy.
That's No Man's Sky, and like I said, it's quite a divided kind of game. I find it quite an interesting game that's divided. The reality is, if you look at the reviews on Steam, all the recent reviews, all very positive. That's what says a lot. There's a lot of games out there. When you look at the recent reviews for games, they're garbage. If you look at and they started off really good and they've gone into the tank. Whereas if you look at No Man's Sky, it's the opposite. Bad reviews to start with, it gives you a mix because the reviews at the start were so bad for such a long time. But if you look at all the reviews
needed longer to develop it.
All good.
It was published too soon. And when he got out of the time and put
$20,
stuff in it,
$15
or reduce
indie
the price
game,
of it,
$20 indie game. I think no one would have complained. Everyone would have said, "Oh, cool! This is an indie game. $20. Okay, cool. This is going to become something great. We can see the potential." And then the guy could have come out and said, "We're still working on some of these multiplayer aspects. We didn't get them, but here's the indie aspect of the game. Could have turned it into an early access game for fuck's sake, and it would have been fine." Anyway, right, moving on. So there's the Endeavor. Have you seen the new latest Endeavor picture? Anyone here?
Which one is that?
It's the one that says Endeavor pick.
I did not see that.
Cool.
Miss, is he hijacking your hosting today?
No, it's fine. He did this first part, so it's fine.
Fuck me, man. It's last time and you're hijacking Mrs. hosting here.
I'm not hosting. I'm just saying if everyone's seen it. If people have seen it, it's fine. If they haven't seen it, I've got the picture in the Google Doc. It's the one that says Endeavor pick. Very, very cool. There it is. So I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there you go. That's the picture.
It looks cool.
So he's got the habitat. Looks like you got the habitat areas. There's loads. Looks like it's going to be a heavy number of people. And I don't know if that's
not new though. That's from when they first released it.
Yeah.
Oh, is this from they first released it? Okay.
Yeah. I have that picture in my database of pictures.
Oh, this is why I love Reddit. This is why I love Reddit because I didn't know.
Someone dug it up from somewhere.
Someone's dug it up and made it out as if it's new. But anyway, whatever the case, it looks pretty sweet. I was like looking
Isn't
at
that
it.
Awesome. That's the Hope class configuration, right?
Yeah,
so it's the hospital with a bunch of beds and stuff.
Because I haven't like the Endeavor is my. It's like if you were talking about like the golden ship,
in the middle.
That's my end game ship. That's the one I'm going to work towards owning. So I've looked at the range of ships and gone, okay, what do I want? I've done mining in Eve. I don't want to do it anymore. So I want to do farming and I want to do kind of agriculture and that side of the game. So the Endeavor is that ship for me, and I'm going to work to it. Like exactly what you said, Nerd. Is you want to earn it. I don't actually want to buy it. I just want to have that at the end of the game. So. When I saw the picture, I'm a bit like one of those people, when you have trailers for a movie, you don't want to know too much about it. like Star Wars, or
Yeah.
it's the same thing as I don't want to know too much about it, just little sneaky bits. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's cool. So the fact that it's an old picture, it doesn't bother me too much. It was kind of, but the big concern for me was the number of people on board. I was a bit like, I'm a solo org. I'm like one guy.
So when I
was like, shit.
when I look at these big ships, another thing with me at least was that what's my goal in Star Citizen? Well, it isn't any ship. It's not a base on a planet. My goal in Star Citizen, do you guys know about the Lost system, right? The Oratani?
No.
It's a system that the jump point collapsed. I know I've been, reading about the lore and all this other stuff.
Wow.
Jump point collapsed, and there was a huge colony of people in there terraforming planets and all. They're all lost. They haven't found the jump point back to that system, so there's no clue about what happened. So one of the things that I want my org to do is we're going to search for the lost system.
That's so cool. That's very cool. So you're going to search for the lost. It's a bit like searching for the lost city of Atlantis, really, isn't it?
Exactly. So
it may well be underwater.
It's about the journey. It's not about the ships or even
It's
the
gonna be like
destination.
Battlestar. No, what's it called? Is it Battlestar Galactica, where you're going to be on a ship with your crew, with your org?
Yeah.
You're all going to be searching for the promise.
We're looking
The
for
promised
jump points that'll lead us to the lost
city.
the lost system of Oratani.
That is fantastic. I love that. I absolutely love that. That is very cool. Because like if you're on a big ship and you can just all hang out, play basketball, chat, chill, all the complications of people kind of getting together, maybe make babies, see.
Well, and drummer Dan saying the lost system we found in the first weeks of this. I think that these systems are so much bigger than people even understand.
Yes.
That you could scan for months, even possibly years in systems and not find a jump point if it's placed, somewhere just random. There could be a jump point really far away, like not even a system that's surrounding this lost system, but in a system that's further away than you think. And a long winding jump point is the one that you find going back or going to Oratani or something like that,
I'll be looking for my virginity.
It's just, it's not the, I think that it's going to be a fun search. And if it's not that, it's going to be new jump points going to new systems, taking a whole fleet of ships, going in there with, the Reclaimers and Orions and the Pioneers and stuff like that, with an organization going through a jump point nobody's ever been to before into a system that nobody's in, to kind of make your own way,
And that's again the beauty of Star Citizen. There's so many different ways that you could play the game, and how you want to do it is up to you, really. Everyone's got different goals. So, but I think with even the planets, like with that art corp sort of thing, like you was on about the size of it, it's just like the scale of everything is so massive. And it's so hard to even tell when you see a ship, and it's not until you actually zoom in and you find out there's a little person standing by the foot of that ship how big the actual ship is. So then you times that by the planet, by the system, and everything else. Yeah, it's
so. Do you guys like the what is that game that's coming out by Rockstar? The what is it? LA Noire. Are you guys looking forward to that kind of game?
Anything from Rockstar, I'm looking forward to.
So I was thinking, and I don't know if CIG is going to do this or even think in this direction, but wouldn't it be cool to have an entire set of gameplay where you're a PI in a city on a planet where you're just investigating, maybe even just petty crimes, little booze running here, a little, a squabble between two pub owners.
You're getting old Blade Runner on me here, aren't you? You're thinking that advertisement. You're going to get your long coat, your fancy gun, and you're going to be throwing doves off of buildings. That's all I'm going to see Nerd doing.
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome, though? But think about all the gameplay that you could have just because of the size and the scope of these cities. Think about the gameplay that you could have just within the boundaries of a city.
There's no reason why not. Definitely.
Why the hell not? I think that would be fantastic. Loads of NPC missions. Many people ask that same question. Could you potentially buy Star Citizen without owning a spaceship? And if they do build the level of subsumption and to that level of detail of having missions that you could potentially live your entire gaming experience on one planet, where you could have enough storytelling and enough kind of random missions to keep you satisfied, that would be tremendous. That would be, for me, this game would be the greatest game of all times. If you could literally spend your entire gaming career doing a PI on a planet only, that would just be unbelievable. That would be it. Like you played Star Citizen as a PI only, or as a caretaker cleaning up people's sick in a
That's what
bar or
this does.
something.
Or with the imagine a fully fleshed out farming mechanic where you're on the surface of a planet with
Yep.
4,000 acres of
Yep.
land that you're just sitting
Love
there
it.
and doing
Love it.
actual, farm simulator, but in
Yeah.
Star Citizen.
Yeah, I love the idea of that. I absolutely. I mean, I'm all about the whole kind of Maximilian from Gladiator, kind of going off fighting in a gladiatorium and then going back to the whole kind of Roman. The idea of becoming a Roman citizen was very much that you'd fight, you'd war, and then when you finished your war, you'd have a piece of land and you'd farm.
Hey, wouldn't that be a great idea? Maybe they should do that. Maybe, because they have so much land that will come out in Star Citizen, maybe they should do that with the
42?
people who successfully finished Squadron 42.
War vet,
Citizenship.
You get that
Yep.
kind of thing like you would as a Roman centurion.
Yeah.
You get
Little
that plot of land,
homestead.
right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be
Start off as a
awesome.
civilian with a homestead. Yeah, just a little plot of
Yeah,
land, a
that
little,
would be
little
cool.
outpost building. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
No, you start off from there. Then whatever you want to do, you get a ship, you get a job. That's it. That is your start. You become a
That's your start of the
citizen.
game.
You've got your plot of land. Boom, off you go. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that would be so cool to have a plot of land but you have to finish the Squadron 42 in order to get that
Yeah.
thing, right?
I think that they should. I've always thought that they should do that type of citizenship. Like I was thinking of when they talked about citizenship when they first talked about Squadron 42, it always felt like Starship Troopers. You become the movie. You become you get your citizenship, and then it's seen as a big thing. That's the whole point. Playing Squadron 42 is you become a citizen within the world. But I've also thought that if you didn't want to do that, and you didn't want to Squadron 42, that they should create little sub stories for people that you could be a brigadier. You could be an orphan, you could be a whatever, you could be a street rat, you could be a, little mini stories for all these other potential things you could choose. Lots of different potential
You're
starting
going
points.
to get that anyway in terms of
Pretty cool.
like if you don't become as a civilian, you'll be a non-civilian. So obviously it would work in the form of reputation. So people will look at you and go, "Why aren't you a civilian?" Or you may be banned from going to certain places because you're not a civilian. I don't think you're actually going to pick a background story that's
You don't think you can pick that?
and make up. No, I don't think so.
I thought they might give you a little bit of an option, just to kind of just sprinkle a little starting point. You know what I mean? Just a little something. Because Eve does it. You choose your kind of your race and your kind of your backstory.
I mean, it's
I just
possible.
Thought it'd be kind of
It's
nice to
possible
have
if
a
they
little.
allow us to, if they allow
Or
us
you
to
could fill it
spawn
in
on
yourself.
different
You could
planets
maybe
or
fill it in
something.
yourself.
Yeah, it's possible.
You fill in your backstory. You could say,
I mean,
I want to be this race and I want to be this place and I want to do this, but then I want my backstory. You can choose to pre-select or fill you in yourself, and then
I suppose so far is that we don't obviously have any idea on where you're going to start or anything. We're all starting in an easy hab in Port Olisar, but that's obviously not going to be final. So yeah, you may be able to tweak things to choose where you want to start or something possible. I don't see. The thing is, you were about having like a background. An NPC's not going to be able to know that about you unless you tell them. It could maybe.
Yeah, but how could you tell them? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you couldn't an NPC. You could tell a player.
The
but not an
background
NPC.
really only matters for other players.
Mm.
What do you mean? Well, no, but if subsumption exists, then surely.
Yeah,
your
but they're not going to
background
look
story-
at you and go, "Oh, you're an orphan." And
No,
there's
but
way
you-
you're
it
gonna be able
could
to have
open
a
up
conversation
dialogue.
to
Could open up dialogue. I don't know how
The
conversations.
only background, they've said that we're going to have a background, but it's only from the day that you start playing and then interacting with the NPCs. They will remember that. They will talk to other NPCs. So your history, your reputation will precede you, and so
You
there
create
will
it
be
from there
eventually
forwards.
after 5 years of playing the game, there will, and you're not playing on your second character, but you're still playing your first. There will be a background. People will have heard of you. They're, oh, hey, you're that guy, so there will be that, but it will have to be built by you, right?
So here's the thing then. So potentially with Squadron 42, that leads potentially exciting opportunities where NPCs within the Squadron 42 situation, you could write code that in theory, those characters could be in the universe as well. You meet once
I
you
don't know if we're going to
finish.
see them though. I don't know.
Cross. You don't think they could potentially cross?
Because they want to keep the game separate apart from your final taking something over with you. I don't think it's
Right,
gonna cross
so
over
I
because
think
That's a
it'll
shame.
just-
It's a miss.
taking
That's a miss opportunity.
citizenship, taking awards or badges, or and like we were just talking about, a plot of land, right? Because we now know that land plots are in the game, right? But is that going to be something that maybe a much smaller type land plot could be given to the person who finishes the campaign in Squadron 42, right?
Mm.
That would be really cool. I think it would hold with Chris Roberts' idea that this is the
So-
Roman Empire, right?
Oh, there you go then. Hey,
We need to that in
You've heard it.
Spectrum. Get it on as a suggestion thing.
I heard it here.
Get
So
going.
far, what we've done is for next year. What we're going to hear is we're going to have one guy hanging off a cliff with one hand shouting it, and then the other thing is we're going to be hearing about how it's going to be Roman. Squadron 42 potentially. Actually, this year it could be. You never know. They could be talking about land. Oh, fantastic! We're predicting some great stuff here, guys.
Give you a little house.
And then I don't know if you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen the rover? We're talking about animations. Have you seen the rover white test on Planet? Okay, so I've done a little video.
Which rover?
Just a normal
We've
rover, but it's
seen the actual
have you
rover out of white test. So
yeah, but I'm just wondering, is this new? Is this something interesting? I'm just throwing it.
Flap
Here.
it on screen and let us
is-
see.
Is this good? Because this was just recently added to the Reddit,
Unless
and I
it's-
love this is what I love Reddit. Is this to
Unless
show how
it's-
they've improved it so the wheels don't fall off? Because remember we were
I
seeing
did a
wheels
white test
falling
the
off
other day. It cost me fucking 40 quid.
and things falling.
unless it's to do with like the new animation that they've got on the people, whether it's recognizing the lay of the land or
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe that.
could
Maybe
be
it's
linked to
something
that.
like that, right?
Yeah, because this
If that
looked
is
it looked greatly improved. Is all I'm saying. When I
It
watched
is.
this, I was
The
like,
wheels are going over the land
whoa,
pretty well.
this looks really good.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Mm.
When you
I
see it
don't-
moving on the planet, it no longer looks like it's hovering above.
2017 that was recorded, or is that someone just showing it? 2017 March, January, March, or no? Is that American time? Is it
So is this recent? I
3rd
don't know.
of
That was someone pulling the assets.
November?
into
3rd of
Unreal.
November, maybe.
Really? Was that someone just pulling the assets into Unreal? Was it? So this is why I like to test if that's genuinely legit or if it was fake.
Oh yeah, Unreal. So Rover test.
But it looked fantastic, though. Is what I'm saying. I was like, well, that looks
yeah,
great.
someone's
That
pulled it into Unreal Engine. Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, that's all the same part of the same thing. So in theory, that's so
Where-
cool.
where are
though.
you getting
Imagine,
it from,
but that's how
man?
exciting. How exciting is that though for modding as well? Though, if people can take assets and then themselves and start being able to add shit, that just opens up a whole other level. Like Chris is very popular with the modding community and stuff, so that just makes me very excited about
Madness. Next
opportunities
time,
for people.
I will stay on the Addicted podcast, but what I will do is I will just scream.
Sorry,
the stuff that
sorry,
you're
Saul. I
gonna
didn't know
play.
you were there. You just talked so little this evening. Are you okay, buddy? How you doing, man? I didn't realize you were there.
As I said earlier, I'm cutting down on the sugar, so I won't be as loud as I normally am. I just want to get this done and over with, so I don't have to return to this fucking show ever again. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm just sitting it out. I will not say anything. No.
He's just quietly getting drunk there.
Yeah, I am quietly getting drunk, to be honest.
You're like my grandpa. He just slowly starts to sink into the corner, and he's just like literally.
But
You'd ask him a
listen.
question, and he'd be like holding there like this.
Up until now, basically, Monday has always been the day that we had a drink. So that was my day of. It's my Saturday basically, because the rest of the week I'm fucking working. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I'm just enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying the things that you guys are saying. We will get someone to screen your Reddit content next time, man. If you don't, put stuff
Hey,
into it.
I pick out what's new and I look through it and I try and find things that are
needs to
interesting that
better
I've
than
never
public
seen
law.
before. And then-
Yeah, I hadn't seen that. That looked pretty cool to me. Even if it's not official Star Citizen content, who the heck cares, man? That was awesome. Plus, we can hope that they are, that
Improving.
that the technology for the walking across the surface is going to be used for the wheels
For
and
stuff-
for the
exactly,
vehicles. and
why
stuff,
not?
right?
Yeah.
It's
I think that
all
makes
good
sense. I mean,
stuff.
the way that was going over the rocks looked like the other technology. There's no reason why they couldn't use that technology for a vehicle to understand the landscape more. I mean, I wonder if they would use that on things like the Dragonfly and the Nox. Because at the moment they're kind of having a bit weird the way it hovers over things. So could it potentially be used for that so that it reads the landscape in front and it makes it so that it could fly a bit closer? Because
So part of the problem with those is the speed at which they move and the collision between, I mean, it's like if it gets too close, and you are not forgiving on that collision part, you just basically going to flip the thing, right? If there's too much movement involved, right? So it's kind of a, we'll have to see how they are able to work all that out. How they showed in the thing with the Nox having that physics bug, right, where you got off and you walked away, and all of a sudden it's thing right into the air and then comes back down.
Oh, it's on its side, and you have to kind of like bring it upright and then kind of get on it. And I mean, we're playing Destiny 2, and they've got like kind of Dragonfly hover bikes there, which you spawn and jump straight on and stuff, and they're pretty fun and they're great to zip around on. They're really fun to zip around on. So I can't wait to try out Star Citizen's Nox to see how it feels compared to Destiny's flying around, to see if it's the same or if I can kind of go, oh, do you know what? Actually, they could learn from Star Citizen, or vice versa. They could learn from Destiny. So it'll be interesting to see. Miz, that's me done, mate. So with my little section for this week. So
great.
You go ahead.
Well, it's getting on a bit on time anyway. So if anyone wants to put ! question in chat and ask us any questions, we'll go through them a bit. We've covered a lot of the other stuff that we had on there already, because AtV just had nothing on there apart from a couple of burn down bugs.
It was.
So there's just some issues. One of the things to address with the whole burn down is and I think they've changed the report a bit, and people are saying, why is there so many bugs now listed, is that they divided them up before in what they wanted the Evocadi to test. So when you saw like 12 bugs, I think it was just for shopping, whereas now it's kind of there's bugs for shopping, there's bugs for navigation, and they've basically split them up into which ones are blockers and which ones they want to do. So yeah, there's that, which has confused a lot of people. And also I think there was something that we're saying there was bugs and tasks. So they had two different percentages of bugs to be fixed and percentage of tasks. So people are, I think you're muted again.
People mushed those together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they put tasks and bugs and then added it up at the bottom. So I'm not quite sure how to read that.
So I think what it is, people are thinking that they're linked, but I think I can't remember if it's COG or someone was, when it was on Max Stream, or somebody said it somewhere anyway, is that the bugs are obviously the bugs that they need fixing because it's causing issues. Whereas the tasks are things that need to be done, and that can be big or small. It can be just literally, it's not necessarily a bug, it's just, we need to change the lighting in Grim Hex, or we need to make sure that the value of an object is the correct price. So it's just a list of tasks.
Do you think that if the bugs were gone, but the tasks still all remained, that they could move it into the PTU?
I didn't see whether they claimed the tasks as blockers. If they're not classing them as blockers, then I presume they can. Because say if it is just...
Why not? Why have they got tasks blockers? What was the word you said?
No, that was the
bugs, tasks.
Bugs are blockers. The bugs and blockers.
Bugs are blockers. Okay,
and then you've got the tasks. But the tasks. So yeah, I mean, technically, you could, if it was say like change the light bulb in Grim Hex. I don't know, just picking that as a random thing. There's no reason why you couldn't release that to the PTU and then do that task afterwards.
Right. So if you look at under missions, you've got 11 bugs and 76 tasks. If they got rid of those bugs but had like 50 tasks remaining, does that mean it still has to stay in Evocati before they move it out to the PTU? Right. You know what I'm saying? Does it have to with the bugs gone, but they still have 46 tasks remaining? Does that mean, well, it can't go to PTU, it still has to stay with the Evocati? Or is it when the bugs are gone that can go to the PTU, but it's still in a testing environment? So
can I be the just to clarify for the people that maybe don't know what tasks are, can you just remind? Just you say it again. Sorry, I didn't quite understand.
So the tasks.
Just a second. Small daughter is here. I'll be right back.
Yeah. No problem. I was just curious, is what. So
I think the tasks, what was explained, and I can't remember where it was explained now, so I'd have to find that out if I'm wrong. But it was like, so tasks are just things that need to be done. So he's like, you imagine a whiteboard and said, right, this is content we want to add. This is what needs to be, and it can be something from like tweaking the lighting in Grim Hex because it's too dark, or the price on. So although the buying mechanic might work, you might be able to buy a crate, but the price of that crate is wrong. So We need to correct the ship matrix, like you just said. The ship matrix is saying the wrong cargo unit. That could be a task, just to go and go down and change that cargo unit on the ship matrix. It's not stopping anything. It's not blocking anything, but it's just something that needs to be done.
I would say with the Delta patch, then the bugs are more important. Get rid of the bugs.
Well,
I don't know because I've not had any official word. No one's actually told me, or at least I haven't read or seen it. But from the way I can understand it is that if the bugs go, then it's good to be released. I don't think the tasks are stopping it and holding it back. I could be wrong, so please don't hold me to that. No. I'm just saying that I think if it's simple tasks like changing lighting, changing values, it's not necessarily something that would hold the release off, whereas the bugs obviously will. So.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if you know that something's not, if you need, like, I don't know, the lighting in the HUD of something is wrong, then they can get to it eventually. So
yeah,
but if you can't even see your HUD and it's a broken bug, then that needs to be fixed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would be more than happy to have a bug-free but with 70 tasks that need to be completed game than having nothing for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, Suzuman makes the point, and that's the thing that I'm not sure whether it's been clarified or not. See, a task could be make shopping happen. Allow buying, so you can't actually put that would be a blocker then, because if you can't do cargo trade because you can't buy cargo, it's not a bug, but it's not in the game yet. So I don't know if there's a definitive of what the tasks are and whether they would block it. So if your task was to allow or turn on the buying matrix, that's going to be a task that's going to need to be done before they release it. So I don't know. In all honesty, it all depends on what the tasks are. And I don't know if I listened to the ATV, I don't remember them clarifying anything like that.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean,
because I don't even know where that information is actually, because I listened to ATV rather than watch it, so I don't know if they displayed the thing. But like with the bugs, they divided it, didn't they, as to blockers,
yes.
Minor,
major blockers, minor, major.
And so I don't know if they did that with the tasks. Has anyone seen that? Because like I said, I only listened to it. So if anyone's seen that and it's in there, then maybe they've divided the tasks up. But if not, yeah, it depends on what the task is, I think.
Chat knows. That's interesting.
So did we make it past my query about the tasks versus bugs?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in agreement that if all the major bugs or blockers or whatever you want to call them are done, and if there was 50, 60 tasks still left to be done, I'd be happy to have to play with until they're done. I would be more than happy. I'd rather have it than not have it just for tasks.
Right. If the tasks aren't considered blockers, why they would change the terminology if it didn't mean that it was something that could be, you could live with it or without it because it's not a blocker. A bug is a blocker. A task should not be, right?
Yeah.
Unless the task causes a bug, obviously. But that's what
Why
that's
would
what
they
is a little
say-
bit
why
unknown.
would they
I'm
have-
sure. Yeah, it's difficult.
Why would they use that terminology if it wasn't a bug?
Mm. So I think that's kind of the conclusion we come to, because they haven't given us enough information, I think. But if from what I see it is if it's just tasks like tweaking values of stuff and things like that, then it can be released. So yeah. So that was basically one of the main things I saw come up when we was discussing ATV and the burn down, really. Other than that, the big subject has just been on Outposts and the Pioneer. So we've covered a lot of it, but there was an interview at CitizenCon that a few people did. It was a Swedish YouTuber and a Swedish org spoke to. So in CitizenCon they had like booths set up around, and you can go and talk to some of the devs there. So just a couple of things that they kind of mentioned with the Outposts specifically. That's what they were talking about. So I'll just get the first link up. From one of them is it's not a great picture because he was doing it with his phone, but they were shutting out the mining outpost and saying that there's going to be like a minimum amount of stuff that you're going to need on an outpost to make it like habitable. So because everything, if you build one that's got no oxygen or something like that on the atmosphere of the planet, you're going to need to create your own atmosphere. So it's going to have oxygen, it's going to have heating, it's going to have like solar panels for its own power station and that sort of thing. So one of the things they mentioned on there as well is these things you can see on the picture now. These square things in the forefront is mining droids. So
Droids or
they
mining
call them robots.
Mining robot drones or robots?
Yeah,
Drones.
So
they
these
said there's
things would
going to
like
be
walk
mining
themselves
robots.
out to a position
Well, see,
and
that's
set themselves down, or what?
That's the thing they didn't necessarily say. They called it robots, and that's one of the things I was going to sort of say about it. So do we think these are going to be movable? I mean, or are they just automatic things that are going to dig into the ground and mine? Because they called it robots, which is interesting, because otherwise you would think it would just be a placed item, you know?
So the ones in front here, there were those two square things. Those are the
Yeah.
those are the robots.
They called them mining robots, yeah. So
they look awfully like they're
drill
placed. They look placed, and the robotic part could be just the bit in the middle that's the robotic going up and down.
Could be. It could be just means remote control. Well, they did say there's going to be remote control mining. So, as well as I think mining outside of the station, they said in one of the interiors of the outpost.
That was my initial kind of thought as to how they would give us mining without having to have ships, would be these outposts where that would have these kind of like exterior mining drills, but inside, if you looked in those outposts, it looked like a control station where you would actually run the mining from, right? Yeah. And they wouldn't belong to you. What you would do is a miner, either a Shubin miner or an independent miner, would say, hey man, my wife is sick, I have to go home, I haven't finished this job, can you go finish it for me? And that would be what you would do as a player. That's how you would take the job, you go finish it, and then you'd have to take the finished result, the crates of whatever it is, or that you finished mining. So you'd actually be able to do the mining gameplay, finish the job, or you'd go there, maybe you'd have to fix something, who knows what they could do with that. But then the finished product, you would either another NPC would come pick it up, or that could be another job that a player could do, is come pick up the finished product and do that. So I was thinking that's how they were going to bring mining in, even if they didn't have the mechanics for the
ship,
the ship ready yet, right?
So with the outpost, and what they were saying is the one they showed, they went into the interior of it and they said that there is a control center. So it said the outpost will have on it, depending, and this may not be 3.0 type of outpost, because this is, I think, talking more of when it's being able to customize yourself how you want to have it. But it basically say that you'll have like one of the smallest ones, it'll have like a storage room, so you can store your food in there. They had like crates on the wall, so you could store other things in there. Then they said it depends on what equipment you choose to have in that outpost is what it will be able to do. So they said like your mining equipment would be like these mining robots. They didn't mention about them moving, but they said these outposts will have a lot of interaction with the planet itself. So you'll be able to farm stuff, extract your minerals. It'll be able to extract water from the air, that sort of thing. So lots of different options that it'll be able to do. And then again, it said the same, that they will have power and they will need to use power. So you'll be able to put solar panels on there to help create its own atmosphere inside the actual station itself. I think they said for like the mining, it's going to be, they kind of said that you will, these drones or whatever will mine, and then you'll have, you probably won't see like the rocks as such, but you'll have like crates. And then those crates are what, like you were just saying, Aboned, you'll then pick them up. You can either go straight away and sell them, or you can store them within the outpost. You can go into the storage room and put them there and wait for the price to be out. They said you won't get magic money. It won't just mine and all of a sudden you earn credits because you've dug out so much copper or whatever. It will become storage packs. And then those storage packs are then what you trade with, basically. But I don't know, they didn't kind of link it to...
Trade it. You have to sell it.
Yeah,
it's worth the value. It's worth
the
value.
They didn't link it to say whether you're going to work for a company or not. I think these are almost like talking about your own personal outpost. So there will be an opportunity for you to own land, scan it, find out if there's minerals, and do your own mining for your own personal things rather than for a company as well.
I like the fact that, for me, the complexity of the universe and stuff is the idea, if you are into mining and stuff, you're going to want to make networks with other people that do freighting, or have freighting within your, and have within your org or whatever, because you're going to want to potentially, you could have very good resources where you are that are worth a hell of a lot of more money in another system. You know what I mean? And so you're going to want to potentially build up relationships with people who are transporting your goods to make you more money than selling it in the immediate vicinity, because obviously other people are going to be trading the same potentially ore and stuff that you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So you
So
might you probably
that's-
want to sell it further off, definitely.
Yeah. So all that good stuff.
So I'll just run through a couple of the other things that they mentioned, which I think has been kind of answered in the Pioneer Q&A as well. Now is there's like someone mentioned about building up and down. They said they are working on multi-story buildings, but at the moment they can only go up, or they're looking at making them go up. They said going underground is a lot more difficult. They did mention about like having a landing pad where eventually you'll be able to land your ship, and then that would go underground. And I think they've got plans for that, so it would kind of shut up, and then your ship would disappear. Because there's a lot of things that they need. Like I said, they can't hide them away or anything, and they don't know how many ships you're going to have. So that's how it'll be done. Like it'll go under, the thing will shut, and then your ship will disappear, sort of thing.
That would be cool though. That if the landing pad basically sinks down into the ground, closes it off, and that's you saving yourself. You can go
it, yeah.
And do your daily stuff. That would be a freaking cool idea, though, to be honest. Or it could go into your hangar area, and that's where your hangar area is. That's cool. That's a cool idea,
And the same for your vehicles, like your cars and things like that.
We are going to be able to build refineries as well. This was something that I was really because the prospector cannot refine the ore that it mines, right?
Yeah.
The only ship that currently has a refinery in it is the Orion. So imagine a small org with 4 people who own prospectors. Then you hire somebody with a Pioneer. Well, luckily I have one, but just say you don't. You hire somebody with a Pioneer to build your refinery and some habitation modules around that on a place that you guys know that is teeming with ore, and then you just sit there and you log off every night at the refinery. And then, of course, you will have to hire NPCs as mercenaries to guard your location. And I mean, it's just amazing how that gameplay might really evolve.
Yeah.
It's exciting,
Yeah. Well, this is it. That's the thing is like everyone gets people. Some people come in and they're like, oh God, you're theory crafting or you're guessing. We're all guessing. The truth is that's the greatest part of this game. One of the best part of this games is that they
thinking of the potential.
We don't just do it. You watch Captain's Table. You watch them sit around a table, do what we do, with the idea of creating what they're talking about. That's the amazing. That's the funnest part. Is like these guys want all this stuff. They want ideas. They want to expand, and the fact of the matter is they make more money all the time. Every concept sale, everything, and it drives not just paying for the bills, but it also drives future ideas, future development for this game. They're not. They've set us obviously an end goal in terms of what they want to achieve, but I'm sure eventually they're going to want to keep this game. Is not going to stop. It's going to want to keep doing it over and over. This is Chris Roberts' swan song, whatever you want to call it. This is the game to end all games. This is everything for him. Everything. The game
is going to change the way that games are built from here on out. And it may be the engine that other game. Can you imagine though? Like, so did you guys ever play EverQuest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine the world of Norath, but on a globe, on a planet, where they actually could just take one planet instead of, how much there are going to be hundreds of planets and hundreds of cities and all. But instead, they take one planet. They make all the assets for that, and then they procedurally generate cities and forests and mountains, and then they populate and they bespokely create this planet on a globe. And then EverQuest takes place as the Norath that we know, but on a real planetary
proper day and
scale.
night cycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. It would any of them games back. You go back on them and like you said, change the way they were being made. It would be subsumption. Add subsumption in there.
Is the game changer.
Crazy.
Bitmo said exactly what I was thinking. Though, but this game is the game changer.
The game
so the
is
planet,
the game changer.
like Fallout. The game
of
Fallout, but on the entire planet Earth after the, right? So
it's just, but the thing is like people don't understand this. This is when I try to explain to people. I'm like, the thing is, they don't just go, okay, do you know what, guys? We're just going to do one new thing. We're going to make a procedural planet. They go, we're going to do procedural planet. Then we're going to do some
Everything they're
submission.
doing.
And we're going to do
Everything.
this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to make it so that you see the world from literally, physically the eyes of the person. No other game does that shit. Seriously, they pretend, they fake this shit. I mean, again, like, there's the chicken. If anyone's never seen it, go Google it, go research it. They had to kind of come up with a whole clever way of like making the camera see through the eyes so that it was stable and like that no one had ever done before. And it was inspired by a chicken's head. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Pretty-
yeah, and
Yeah,
so,
sorry. I'm just they don't take half
We're all
measures.
just in awe. We're just sitting there in awe.
Let's
It's like,
do
yeah,
all of
it's
it.
true. We all sit there going, yeah, that bit's a change, or that bit's a change. Is it everything they're doing is like pushing it? It will force other games. It already is forcing other games to change how they are developed. It's already doing that. A lot of these space games are out because of Star Citizen in the first place. You know, if it wasn't for Star Citizen doing what it's done, then Hellion and things like that, they wouldn't be in development. People wouldn't have had the thing to get on there and start doing it. So it's an amazing project, and it's a bumpy ride for some.
It's
but,
it's definitely a bumpy ride, but it's worth sticking your ass to the ball as much as you can and riding that Bronco all the way to the finish line. Because if you don't, you'll miss out. That's all I'm saying. You'll miss out on the excitement.
So,
what else? Do you
one
have
of the
anything
last
else? Or
things
shall we?
on the Outpost thing is, I think, I mean, I thought this was obvious, but obviously it wasn't because people were asking it. But player bases will be persistent, so if you log out, your bases will still be there, and they will need to be protected. You'll be able.
Why
to
is
get
that such
turrets
a hard
to
question?
defend-
Every
I don't
question
know,
is.
yeah.
They keep asking that question. I looked at the questions. It's like dumbass fucking question. It's like they already answered that question.
Yeah, and
It's
then
like,
someone
yeah,
asked about, mechs or robots being used as defenders, and they didn't say no, but they, they didn't.
okay,
confirm,
so that they didn't say no because I think that they've kind of explained that we are going to have like automated turret systems that will be
They
able
said
to
the
be placed
turrets will
around
be
your
there,
base.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
also don't you guys remember Chris Roberts did say something about a possible like a shield, but instead of a dampening field that you would be able to put at your base that would basically make it almost undetectable from the surface. Now, so you could go into low power mode, put up your dampening field, and unless they were like right over your base, they're not going to see it. And I mean,
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's Star Wars cool, right? That's like
I don't.
it's not a cloaking device, but it is definitely hiding from scanners.
It's
It is definitely
like stealth
if you're
on
not
ships,
seeing
isn't
it with the
luring
naked
you in.
eye, you're not seeing it, right?
yeah.
And that's going to be a way that people are going to be able to protect their property when they're not online, right?
Yeah.
Another way that they're going to be able to protect their property when they're not online is have international guild, organizations. Have people that are from Australia and from the UK and Germany and the United States, and that your organization, much like CIG, is almost always awake, right?
Yeah.
It's all about interacting with other people.
It is.
Whether it
It
be
is.
guards,
It's
security.
It's a
looking after,
massive
sharing.
multiplayer online universe. I think they have to change it from online role-playing game to a massive multiplayer online universe where things are going to be persistent. They've already said they're going to make sure, big ships, the Javelin, the Idris, these are going to be persistent. You log off, it's still going to exist. So where you log off matters, right?
Yeah.
So
It's an MMO at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a game, but at the end of the day, it's also one of those things where your bases are going to be persistent. And
yeah, absolutely, and they should be. You want this is the thing is people are talking about like it all comes from the Pioneer thing. It's like I've seen so many questions about the Pioneer. People saying, if I land the base, will my base be destroyed if I log off and all the rest of it? I'm like, yeah. You built a permanent structure on a planet.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
Exactly.
You magically disappears so that you can build. Of course, it is going to. I mean, maybe your ship will disappear once you log out and stuff. Maybe. I mean, I don't think it will. But your
here's the
base
thing, guys.
won't.
Think about this, though. We don't. Until we can explore the land that they are giving us just in 3.0 on these 3 moons and asteroid. So the 3 moons and the 1 asteroid. I want somebody. We're going to have to test this out, guys. As a group, we're going to have to test this out to go land a ship somewhere and then say, okay, try to find me.
Yeah. I know. It's not going to happen. I mean, I know
I can
from
tell
people,
you can't.
I know from people that from certain people who may have played the current 3.0 as it stands, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's
So all
just
these
not
people
gonna
worried.
happen.
All these
Yeah,
people
and the,
worried about,
and
somebody's
the,
going to discover my stuff. Yeah.
Like,
You're
If they
right.
do, well, kudos to them.
It
An
goes
NPC
back
might.
it goes
An
back
NPC
to what we started off with the Pioneer having like your plot of land 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. It fits into the Skyrim map. I mean, imagine finding your house flying
Skyrim.
over the top of Skyrim, a little dot which is your house, and then they said that fit inside a crater on one of the moons. So you're talking about not the crater. Inside that crater is a dot,
And then stick a dampening field on top.
and then stick a dampening field on top of that as well. Good luck. You go and find that house.
Yeah, and then make that be amongst 1,200 to 1,500 moons.
Do you know what
of
it
a
does,
possible
though?
Place that it could be.
Do you know what it does? It creates a profession for being
What,
a
house
hunter.
hunting.
Being a hunter.
I'm gonna
TV
find
show.
you a perfect house. I'm just gonna find the fucking
Okay,
first.
so
TV
speaking
show.
of being a hunter, this is something I wanted to talk with
Great.
you guys about. The idea of switching from the GPU particle, which is what they're doing right now for the footprints. This is what they've said, is they're saying for now, the footprints in the surfaces of the moon, wherever you leave those footprints, are the GPU particle. But what they want, the eventual thing is they want it to become a decal that is left there for, depending on, if it's an airless moon, it'll stay there indefinitely. If it's a moon with like Daymar that has wind effects and all that other stuff, that it'll eventually erode away. If it's a planet with weather or rain or whatever, right, it'll erode away. But footprints and tire tracks and stuff like that, they want that stuff to persist with decals. They can't do it now because they're just using a GPU effect.
Do you know what, dude? It just blows me away. I no longer think to myself what they can't do. I just think to myself, what could they do?
Right.
Like,
so it's once they showed us this, and in the past, everybody's saying, yeah, whatever, planet covering a city. It's every stream that I ever watched for throughout the summer, they were saying they're probably not going to be able to do that, but maybe they're, so there was a lot of speculation about what procedural cities would be. But when I saw that at CitizenCon, I was just like, my mouth was open the whole time. I couldn't really speak. I was like, oh my god!
I was just
Well,
I
if
just
they could
didn't
do
know
that-
how they were going to do procedural cities. I was just like, I can see the procedural city one that big over a moon. I was just like, nah, they're going to struggle with that. And then
now, when I think back to the other things that they said, like they want tire tracks and footprints to persist, right, with decals rather than the GPU particles, which they're going to be using at first. Once they figure out that tech, that exactly what you said a little bit. You are going to be able to be hired as a tracker and start looking at these things and going.
This is it. This is what I love about this game is that for every count, for one thing they do, there always should be the counter. There should always be the opposite. It's like the yin and the yang to create a balance with the verse. So for every EMP or grenade that's created, there needs to be very deep. But I firmly too much. I'm finished. I finished all my booze. It's crazy. Don't tell the wife. But no, I do. I genuinely think that there should be within the verse, and it creates good balance. It creates good gameplay, and like I said, if you're creating people that making it really hard to find people, then you need to create really great systems to find people.
Yeah,
make it
an actual,
and you have to earn. It becomes something the right ship, the best ship. What's the best tracking ship? If you want to become a great bounty hunter, you need to work your ass to get the right ship with the right modulars, the right components, the right armor, the right equipment, the right gear. And that's all you do. That is it. You are a tracker and you get paid good money by people who want you to track something specific. I don't know, whether it be an outpost, a mining bay, whatever. People are hiding shit because that's what ultimately people are going to do. They want to hide shit. So you want to be a great tracker, you're going to have to find shit. That's the way
wait till we can start digging underground and putting your base under there.
Yeah, exactly. So
then spot it from space.
Exciting.
So it's going to be this constant competition, this arms race between those people who are using the dampening fields and shielding devices that are hiding their stuff, and the people who are using the scanners and the specialized telescopes and stuff to actually find that stuff. Can you imagine if okay, look, none of my scanners are going to find this stuff. So I'm going to sit there with a telescope, and I'm going to sit there in orbit, and I'm just going to start doing a grid search and look by the eye, because you're going to have to, it's easier to do that from orbit, so maybe you can get some sort of telescope. Like I already do that with the scope that's on the sniper rifle. Right? I'll sit there and I'll look through the sniper. Oh, there it is. Okay. Because if you're far enough away from something and you're out wandering through the asteroids looking for something, and you're like, crap, this is a giant field of what do you call it? Rubble, or you're looking for, and you use the sniper scope, and I'll just go, oh, there it is. Right. Okay. So in the same kind of sense, maybe there'll be a telescope on your ship, and you'll just sit there and look, down at the surface of the planet, because that none of your scanners are going to find crap. Even cameras are using a not the naked eye, so you have to use the naked eye, because the cameras are not going to pick up something being digitally hidden or something.
Like I said, there's I'm excited. It's going to be cool. Should we do some questions before we close up?
Yep.
If you've got any.
Yep.
Let's do a couple questions. Let's get engaged.
Let's go to the questions. We have them here. Okay, so the first one is from Mika. So I looked at the engine that Star Citizen is using.
Big girls, you are beautiful.
I have to ask, is everything made by the engine? Like, are ships modelled by the engine, or are they made by another program? So, I don't know if everything's done in CryEngine, or whatever they call it now, Lumberyard. I think some things are ported across.
They have used Maya and 3D Studio Max, I think. I know they talked a lot about using Maya, and I'm not sure about 3D Studio Max. I may have heard that from somewhere else, but they do use other modeling tools. I know the paintings like Substance Painter. I talked about that last week a little bit. I use ZBrush. They pull them out. Yeah, ZBrush. Yeah.
So where does Amazon's Lumberyard engine come into?
That's the game engine. That's how it puts all these pieces together and brings it into a way that we can, animate or use them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's how you make it. It's how you make these items interactable.
Okay, because there's been so many. Because obviously had CryEngine, we got Lumberyard, which is ultimately it's CryEngine, but with a new Amazon owner.
Yeah, but those are the game engine. That's where you take these models that are built in Maya or 3D Studio Max or ZBrush, and once you have reduced their polygon count, right? So
sorry, just because I was thinking that's what he was talking about. So he's just talking about Maya and ZBrush, because they do ZBrush for all the figures and stuff. That's ultimately where most gaming uses ZBrush.
The sculpting, ZBrush is used, or ZBrush is used for sculpting rocks or anything natural, more kind of with a flow, right?
Maya, 3D Max.
Wasn't you using when you built like the space whale and stuff? Was that
that's what Z. I call it. Sorry, in proper English, it's a Z, not a Z. But yes, it's a ZBrush if you want to call it by the Americans' term.
Z.
But yes, it's a Z to me, and always will be. So yeah, no.
Oh my God,
you are a Francophile, aren't you?
That's what. It's the Queen's English.
In the Netherlands, we would call this an antfucker, basically.
What?
It's the Queen's English, but no. Yes, sorry, I was just clarifying. I wasn't quite sure, but yes.
Comes out with his little gems.
Yeah. No, this is serious. We call this, so everyone, the word nitpicker freely translated from Dutch is antfucker.
Nice.
And bang.
Okay, so
thank you for that.
That's taking us right off topic there.
Yeah, thanks.
So
thanks for entering.
Is by Scrooby Doo, and he's saying, how many NPCs/companions do you think you can personally bring on a ground mission, basically following you around for protection? 1, 2, or more?
Well, this is it. This is what I was asking about SimCity. Like, this is my thing. Is I don't know, because until they tell us. Because if you say on a ground mission you can take 5, and then you say, well, on a spaceship I can have 3, and then mining and farming and building a city I can have 100.
What's going to fit in your ship that you're flying to the location with? I mean, it's not about. Oh, can I have 100? You can't fit 100 on an Idris, so don't
cram them all in.
But, what they're asking a bit
life
more
support would not support that. You know what I'm saying? But when they talk about the maximum amount of players or characters on a ship, they're talking about what the life support system will support, right? If you add more in, your life support is going to be, ending life.
I'd say whatever the ship can hold. So what is it like?
No, but is it though? Because like on
Cutlass
a
12?
so what I think they mean more is, so especially on a specific like a ground mission, if you were in a freelance with a crew of 5, do you get to take all the crew with you? Will they all follow? Is there going to be a limit if you're on a ship that says 80 and if you had the money to hire 80 NPCs, will they all follow you on a ground mission? You got your own little army, or will there be a limit? So like Star Trek Online do it, and you can have 4 NPCs.
I don't know that all of those people would be even qualified to do that kind of stuff. Would you want to take a guy who mops your floors on a
Well, someone's got to stand at the front when you're in the middle of a battle.
Hold this for me for a second. Get rid of the mop. Hold this with me. Stick this on your head. We need you now. Get out there.
I think that
that's the safety switch.
There are going to be some multi-skilled NPCs that are going to be hella expensive, and basically if you have 4 people in your crew, let's just say you have a freelancer, you got a 4-person crew, but one of them is you, right? So you have a 3-person NPC crew, and really you could only afford one guy who was multi-skilled, meaning he was more than just a pilot. He's also an ex-Marine with some combat skill, right? You couldn't afford this. You couldn't afford to have all 3 of them be that, because that would you'd go broke. Nobody, you'd never make any money on a mission that you could do, even fill in the freelancer to the max. You still wouldn't make all the money back, right? So it's all about there's gonna be balance based on the skill of the NPCs that you hire, right? And not all of them are gonna be going out to, you land on not all of them are gonna go out with you to, they'll be like, no way, I'm not going out there. It's dark and there's some strange bugs out there that latch to your face.
Maybe this comes back to the whole point. I think it comes back to the ship is your key to the profession. So if you have a prowler, you can take 10 people with you, and they can all be high, NPCs. If you have a, freelancer, you can take 2. Maybe if you have a 2-seater Cutlass, you can have 4.
I think it may be more linked, kind of like as Ubana said. So if you're hiring someone to work on your turret, that will be their job. And you won't be able to then say to you, we've landed now. Can you come out of that turret and come and join me on land? They probably won't. You probably actually have to physically hire someone to be a bodyguard or someone that will follow you on ground rather than a position in your ship. And then obviously if you've got crew to run your ship, then you've got less room in your ship for those people. So I presume it would probably be something like that.
I would say that, like in a freelancer, right? I think all of them would be able to load and unload cargo. Right, if you had 4 people in your freelancer, right? That's
do you think you'd be able to do that though? Like, if you're hiring a turret to turret your gun, do you think you'd actually be able to tell him, can you load up cargo? He might say, no, fuck that. I'm a turret. That's what I'm paid for.
No. I think that the job in a freelancer is really, yes, the turret is the guy in the turret is there to help defend as you're flying from point A to point B. But the whole reason that you're flying from point A to point B is to deliver cargo. So I think part of it is going to be that they will all do those small jobs, but they won't be like doing the stuff like you're saying, going, we're not all going to sneak in and rob the bank.
But if you're not going to happen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're on a prowler, the prowler is a drop ship. The whole point of having 12 people on board a prowler is to drop Marines off onto a
right. Yeah, so the prowler or the hoplite, those would completely different story for those, because and those people aren't going to be your permanent employees. No, you'll probably hire them to go do a job.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas the people who working on your freelancer and you're doing lots of jobs, they may actually live and sleep and be there as permanent employees, at least until they either get annoyed with you and leave on their own volition. Because remember what they said is that sometimes some NPCs may decide just not to stay, or you may do something that ticks them off and they leave, they quit, right?
True. That would be quite funny if people just start leaving you if you treat them badly. Don't feed them enough. Hey man.
Or like if you're always buying the worst food because it's the cheapest, right? They may not stay for long.
They'd be like, what the hell?
So an outpost they go.
Little. I'm not shopping it. I can't handle any more little steaks. Come on, guys.
Little is pretty fucking damn good.
I want some Marks and Spencers. No, I'm only or whatever. Iceland. I don't need any more Iceland cakes.
Oh, no. But
No
that
more
is
of
good stuff, man.
that.
Black
What is that?
Forest Gatto.
What is that really stinky Swedish canned meat? The rotten meat.
Oh no, don't.
Smack.
No.
It's so cheap that people pay you to take it rather than
Pretty much.
So that's what Little Bit's feeding his.
Oh yes, you feed those stuff. That keeps them mean, keeps them keen. Next.
I'm waiting for the time when your NPCs fucking mutiny on your ship and then kick you off. It's like, we're not eating this shit anymore, right? You get out the
Mutiny.
back, or we're actually
Mutiny.
flying this ship. That's what you get
NPCs
when you
steal your
hire an
ship.
experienced pilot and you tell him to go left,
It
and he goes,
depends
"No,
on where you
I'm
hire
going
them.
there."
I think that there probably could be a case for that if you hire them in Nix or maybe in some place that's not governed by the.
Shit.
You could end up with pirates on your ship. You know?
Could you imagine? You wake up and you're floating
I
through
know.
space.
I'll be
little
sitting there
note
like in
from
a new
NPCs.
low of gaming, though, that I've now been outplayed by NPCs. Not even players, but literally NPCs. It's like, fuck.
The computer's decided you're
I
shit.
quit.
That's it. We quit. You're rubbish. In fact, not only we quit, we think we can do a better job than you playing this game. So you're out. See you later, buddy. We're taking your ship.
That's not nice.
That is terrible. Next question, Ms. Unless anyone else
Okay.
wants to add anything.
No, I'm good.
Next question from the prisoner is: new ship matrix page can be confusing in terms of crew size. Is it based on beds? How many stations on the ship? It's not based on beds. I know that because the new Cutlass
Wait.
rework has 2, but I think it can
2
have
beds.
more crew.
It can have way more crew, yeah,
But
because
they
it's a bit
said
of a
you have to
mixture.
kind of share. So I
If
think
it's shared.
I think it's down to stations basically.
There's lots of
Um,
hugging,
Spooning.
So-
Listen and hugging.
lots of
Two in
spooning.
the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of spooning going on. Oh God!
So yeah, I think
Bring
think it's
bring
to
a
do
sleeping
with
bag with
stations.
you when you come on my Cutlass.
a roll down, a sleeping bag and a roll down mat. It's like-
Dirty man.
Pitch a tent in the back of the Cutlass.
nice.
Nope. The Cutlass says 2-person min, 2-person max. It's
Well, they
basically
changed it, have they? Okay.
yeah. That's what it says. So it is
So-
based on beds. It looks like.
Ah, okay.
Now, if you add beds, remember when they showed that possible module?
Hmm.
You know, so there may be. We don't know what they're doing or how they're doing the blue and the red, right? And it depends on how they decide to do the blue and the red. But it may mean that there is the possibility of taking one half of the cargo bay of the black and changing it into living quarters, so you can have more crew, right?
More beds, yeah.
You get rid of some cargo space for extra, you know, the gunner and
So-
you know,
So the Pioneer would have 8 beds then.
yes, the
based on that
Pioneer would
logic,
have to have
The
8
Pioneer would
beds.
have to have 8 beds. You know, minimum of 4 people, but a maximum of 8. So there'd be 8 beds. on
Maybe
the
that
Pioneer.
is what it was then, that they changed it so that you have a bed per person. It means you can have more people on your ship, but they've got nowhere to sleep. I think that's what they were saying. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I mean,
so
Kind of sucks for the people that don't have a bed, but
And if
Maybe
you
you have to-
saw the update to the
If you look up-
Caterpillar, it's a min crew of 2, max crew of 4. So they've actually changed the number of
Yeah.
beds.
and that one is again modular, isn't it? So you can add more beds and things like that as well. He
That's
asked
very
because there's confusion on the forum. I mean, the Herald, I think, has a bunk bed. I'm sure it did that you could pull out for the second person.
Oh, Nerd knows that. Nerd
Yes.
is a fan of the Herald.
yes, I thought the Herald did have it.
The Herald has 1 bed. It's a one. I think the Herald is a 1.
No, prison
Oh,
said it
one
was listed
person
as
ship.
2 stations.
think it's-
But is it say 2
they
stations?
changed.
Does it say 2 crew though? Because you can have more than 1 station. Doesn't mean that's crew per station.
And that it increases like the if you've got less beds than people on board your ship, you're gonna have to look after your NPCs again though, because if they get tired and they need to, you're gonna have to make sure the shifts.
Yeah,
Accommodate them,
the Herald is a
accommodate them.
1-person ship. It's just a 1 per. Yes, there are 2 stations, but
Doesn't
this
mean
is how the
yeah.
Herald works. You
You
go
get out
out
of it.
into the verse, you get out of your pilot seat, you go into the station there, and then you get. I think what they're going to do is that at that listening station, at that radar station, you'll probably have minimal thruster control to position, to point the Herald, right? So you'll have some thruster control to point the Herald in the right direction, and then you'll be doing all the scanning work, right? There's a single bed in there. It's just a living quarters for one person. The scanning station, you got to get out of your pilot seat. I mean, you can't do the scanning while you're flying. So you got to get out of that. You go in there and you start doing that. And it's a long distance scanner anyways. You point in a single direction and you can reach farther than most other ships, right?
Yeah.
But it's like pinpoint, right? So it's like you're not going to, like the Terrapin is supposed to be just a big, huge umbrella around it, but it's nowhere near as far as the Herald. But the Herald is directional, right?
So I think that's what it is. They've changed a lot of the crew from what they had before.
The
And that's what
Connie's
they've
got
done. They've
4.
matched it now. So there's things that are becoming, they've matched it to the beds. And I think
Yeah,
that's
Connie.
probably what they've done because of logging off and persistence and stuff.
Yeah,
So
that
now
makes
it
sense.
will
Yeah.
be, I think that's what
Makes
it is.
sense.
It's going to be linked to the bed sizes. How many beds you've got in a ship is what's
Yeah.
going to be the crew size, to be honest. Because then,
Yep.
because one person can, like you just said, can work one or more stations. It doesn't have to be done that way.
So, yeah. Well, it makes sense because I've got a Connie and it's got 4 beds from what I can remember. And so they've got 4 people here. And the minimum of 3 people flying it. And 4 people is the maximum crew.
Yep.
Okay.
So I mean, and that makes sense.
Okay, so the next question. Uber Scruber says, do you think CIG will stick to their word on the 65 million funding goal in regards to redesign of the Redeemer?
So if they hit, why would I don't see why
they
they
not stick to their? They've done it, you know. Why would they not?
Yeah, they need to get rid of those.
They've already said
those
that
hands-
the guy who's working on the guy that designed the Redeemer got hired by CIG, but he's in the middle of working on getting Squadron 42 out the door. When that's done, he will be able to get back and work on the Redeemer again because they have to completely basically reconcept. It's going to be pretty much the same ship, but it has to be redone for the new ship pipeline kind of thing.
So yeah, I think they will, because why wouldn't they, really? Oden Rio, sorry if I said your name wrong. Has asked, what do you think of not being able to play 3.0 at the earliest January when it goes live? I just want to know how you feel for this. With all the delays, that will be all the time for me. This is not okay. I don't. Or is that a big chance that we all play on the PTU?
This madness just disappeared.
Yeah, Madness dropped off. I thought it was going to be me.
We've lost him.
It's not a problem.
Is he on Discord still?
Nope.
Yeah, he's in the Discord still.
You'll probably see him drop out in a second.
Yeah, probably. We just have to lean over.
Oh, there he goes.
We've all
I
changed.
I thought that
Whoever's
was going to
needed-
be me, so I'm going to just sit here over in the corner here.
I just jumble stuff around a little bit. There you go.
Oh, am I elbow madness now?
Yeah, you were. Until he comes back, which he probably will. Immersion broken. Okay, so we'll move on to this question. I don't really know what you're asking. How do we feel about 3.0? I think what will happen is we're just on about release. We don't know the release date. Personally, I think what will happen by Christmas is I think that they will probably open it up to PTU, if not live, so that everybody that wants to play can play, but they have to download the PTU for it. I think.
Yeah, I
get
think
to
that it'll
stage.
be like what they did with 2.0. If they can't get it done out of Evacati and then out of PTU by Christmas when everybody goes on vacation, I think that they will do what they did with 2.0, and that's just open the PTU to everybody. But like Ms. said, that you'd have to download the PTU separate to what's out there already.
It just goes to whether the final wave is, which means anybody can do it. They don't officially release it to live, but it means everybody can play it. And I honestly think that's by December. We've got another couple of months by Christmas. I think we should be there. We've got no guarantee, but I can't see them not. The only reason to not open it up basically would be because they still need a lot more bug reports, and that would flood It would flood the bug reports. And that's the only reason they wouldn't open it up to everybody else. So
Right.
that's that one. It's just an opinion. We don't know. but that's what I predict at least. I think we'll have it by Christmas at least. And Scroobaduba, are these people just making names up or are they actually in chat? Asks, which ship will be the best for farm work on my outpost home?
Your
And it
hands.
died. Okay, no problem.
What's going to be the best for farm work?
Yeah. I mean, is
Your
any
hands.
the ship's not going to be good for farming at an outpost, is it? Not a
No,
ship.
well, no, not on an outpost. I mean,
No.
so farming. We don't know enough about that yet. We do know that there are these agricultural outposts owned by Rayari that they've already put into lore that we've seen pictures of multiple times with the salad spinner kind of stuff going on. So there is opportunities for us to do agricultural work. But we don't know what kind of jobs those are yet. There's also the eventuality of having the Endeavor with the biodomes. There's that too. They've also mentioned the possibility of having biodomes on the surface of planets where you might be able to do stuff. They haven't confirmed any of that, so we don't know. Now that they have planets, and these planets are going to have full-on biomes and so on and so forth, it may get down to the point that eventually we have the ability to farm thousands of acres of land with plows and tractors and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? We don't really know, but we hope.
But yeah, so I think it's ship-wise there isn't one other than on the Endeavour to farm on the ship. But we may get vehicles that will do that. Hopefully, I think.
Right, and we have
Eventually.
seen that with the Pioneer, we're going to be able to build outposts that can do what you see the Rayari outposts do, but at what level we don't know yet.
I think I've got issues with the Pioneer, but it would be far too long to go into them for this one, so I'll leave that for another podcast. But so the last question we got is from Headclot. And he says, do you think CRG will drop the mod tools and private stretch goal? I mean, I think it's hard to know because it depends whether this game grows in too much scope that it's not something that you can just give someone to mod and create their own servers. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't think that they will, but I don't think that you will see it
you don't think they'll drop it?
Closer.
Or you don't think they'll give
No. I don't think they'll drop it. I think that we
Yeah.
will get that stretch goal of getting mod tools and private
Eventually.
servers, but it'll come probably 5 years plus past actual launch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the game is launched, and then 5 years beyond that, I think that's probably very possible. But I think they're going to have to package it in such a way that it basically makes it so it can't be used to like create another game. It's going to be very restricted to modding, making a solar system with a few planets in it and being able to invite 25 people. Right. Yeah. And it'll be limited to that, but it'll give us that creative ability to do a whole bunch of stuff. Right. And it won't be the raw tools that we saw them use at CitizenCon demoing, procedural cities. It will have some of that, but it'll be mostly like, okay, you paint this, you put this stuff, you mark these different districts, and then you press create, and it'll create it, and then you place it on the surface of a planet. It'll automate a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I believe it'll come. I believe that they will do it, though, after launch sometime. I don't think that they're even going to focus on getting something ready for us, the backers, until after the game is totally launched. So.
And I think I agree with Mr. Coffee really in overall is that I don't think they'll drop any of the stretch goals. They've promised it. They've made things happen that we didn't think they could make happen, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't follow through with everything on that list. When and how, obviously, as Obadiah is saying,
completely different story.
Yeah, but I think you will get it. I agree. I think you will get it, even like you said, even if it's 10 years bloody down the line, they'll do it because they've promised it, and why not? But yeah. I agree.
Yeah, the reason I say 5 years is because it seems to me that they won't like. I think we'll get it after the third version, the third Squadron 42 chapter comes out, right? So that's my guess is that we will get it after the third Squadron 42 comes out. At that point, they will do it. So
cool. So
hello.
Yeah, that's hello.
Oh my god. I've got a voice. I don't think I've got video though.
Hello, guys. I do apologize. My internet has just died.
That's no problem.
I was saying to them when you popped off that I was like, oh, I thought that was going to be me.
No, I'm back. Can you believe it? It's amazing. The NPCs were revolting against me. That's what happened. I had to whip them into line.
That's it. We were talking about mutiny, and the next thing you know, he disappears.
They must have been French.
Yeah.
Wow, that was the internet. Brilliant. Thank you, internet. What do I pay?
Was that? Remember that the peasants are revolting. They most certainly are.
That sounds like Monty Python style.
Of course.
So yeah, that was the last.
Am I back in time for the ending? Am I back in
You
time?
are back in time for the. That's all you just wanted to plug yourself, wasn't it?
Just plug myself. Make sure.
So yeah, that is the end of it. That's all the questions. Thanks everybody in chat for hanging and asking all the questions, being here with us. We appreciate the support. Thanks for all the follows and the sub as well that I got. Really appreciate that. Please make sure you follow everybody on the panel. All awesome Star Citizen folks, especially Mr. Uber Nerd there. Go and show him some love and all the follows that you possibly can. And thank you very much for being on the show as well, Mr. Uber Nerd.
Yes,
Really
thank you so much.
that.
I know it's quite a few hours, so thank you for taking the time.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
But that's all right. Let's go for a long walk.
It will never come back again, but there we go.
It'll never return. Yes.
Yeah, because you guys are. Hey, Quagmire, we're gonna go down to the clam for a beer. You want to join us?
I'm gonna have to get some impressions on to compete here because this is shockingly good. It's so
okay,
good.
so we'll just quickly round up. Mandis, what are you doing this week?
I will be playing Star Citizen, Destiny, working. I am just sorting out some more t-shirts. I'm going to Bar Citizen on the 12th in London. So if anyone is British and is going to lives in London and wants to go to the Bar Citizen, check it out. If not, send me a direct message, dear Discord, a little bit of madness. And I can get you the links to it. So yeah, I'll be going there and meeting up with a few people. I got a t-shirt hopefully to give to somebody. So yeah, should be good. That's me. Going to be playing lots of Star Citizen, having fun.
And Sol, it's been a pleasure having you on, sir. Obviously,
It's been
we'll
a
have you
pleasure
back
doing the podcast,
as a
with
guest,
you guys.
mate. And
Yeah.
don't be a stranger. Good luck in your endeavours for the future. Do you want to
Yeah,
tell everybody what you
definitely.
are leaving us to do?
I will be working a lot. You will be seeing me doing a lot of creative streaming. That is in the planning. But it was a pleasure, guys, with all of you. Also, what's his
We'll get to
name
see
again?
you on Captain's Table a lot now, I imagine.
No.
You sure?
Yeah. You have Biomechanical. Thank you as well, dude. If you ever watch this, see this. Thank you for all the things, guys.
No,
It
it's
was
been
good,
great.
But
Been great.
sometimes you need to make choices that you not always want, but that are better for the personal situation. And this is one of them.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
keep up the great work, guys. Keep it
Yeah.
going.
He dropped a bombshell on us. I would have liked to have. He dropped it literally today, so I was like, "Oh, shock!"
And,
So
yeah.
we haven't got any
And,
flowers.
we got
no
no flowers, no
and
balloons.
This is an important one as well. Thank you for all the viewers as well. Keep supporting these guys and what they're doing. Great stuff. And thank you, Uberner, for being here.
Yes. And
Check
he's
out-
muted
Can hear you,
himself,
man.
but when he unmutes himself,
Yeah, when he meets.
do you want to tell us what you've got planned for the week?
You're muted.
Oh yeah. Great
Yeah,
stuff.
you
Who
muted that.
you or me?
you.
Oh, well.
Tell us what
Well,
you've
what
done
I've got
to you.
planned. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna be going down to the southern area and getting me some chitlins and grits, and
I'm gonna be just playing more Star Citizen, doing some
Really?
videos. Yeah, it's pretty much all I do. And who knows? We'll have to see what's going on. My schedule may end up changing slightly. I don't know yet because I have a possible job coming up with as a 911 dispatch operator. Could you imagine that?
this is 911.
You got the wrong tune, man. Yeah, people are gonna think I'm going.
Stinker.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah. So, but yeah, so
getting
the
shot
schedule
here.
could change.
What's up,
I
Doc?
don't know. I don't know for sure. If it does, however, because the job will be very consistently the same hours for at least 3 months at a stretch, I will be able to know exactly what my schedule will change to. But I don't know yet, so it's still up in the air.
Good luck with that. I wish you the best.
Good luck, Uber. Yeah.
Whatever
Okay,
happens.
guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to go over and host Dr. Drones. Say hello. Go and give me love. Addicted love and everything else. Thanks once again. And we shall see you next week.
Next week.
I presume Madness is hosting next week. So,
Yes!
on
Looks like
Madness's
it.
channel next week.
It's going to be
Goodbye,
bouncy
guys.
between two of us until we find. So, by the way, if anyone wants to advertise and wants to get in contact with either me or Miz and wants to become a permanent member of the Addicted Podcast, we'll be opening trials. I'll be breaking a pool stick, and you fight for the death. Maybe some dog fighting. Whoever can pull the biggest, cool, badass wheelie or something. Who knows?
Now. Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Shut up.
Chaspert Nanu Nanu.
Has it worked? Is it hosting?
Has it
or
worked?
not?
Did it work? Hang on, let's find out.
There we
Let's
go. Tell me if hopefully it's gone over. Suck it.
Find out. I don't know. Da, da, da. See where we are. We're all still talking. Everyone's like, oh, nah, 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 nah.
I need somebody to do a shout out for everything. Create.
Nope. I'm still seeing me.
You're still seeing you.
I'm still seeing me.
On the show.
Talking.
It's come up as an alert on his that it's.
Yeah, what are you doing there? I don't understand the thing you're doing there. Those of us from Quahog, we're all just sitting here continuing to watch it. You're just like us,
You're still watching us.
No, we're not on. We're not on.
Welcome, guys. I'm Dr. Drones. Hi. Welcome,
I'm
guys. I'm
seeing
Dr.
the
Drones.
screen
Hi.
here.
I'm not much
I'm
of a
seeing
combat
us.
pilot, but I'm
On
on
your-
your
I've just gone back to my channel. We're not on it.
just to kill
Are we
you.
not?
I'm trying to
Because
make
I'm
sense.
seeing.
I'm seeing us.